Peace. All right. Today we're going to get into what we call sexual sorcery. We're going to get into some of the technique to manifest with your partner through sex. So the magical aspect of sex. We're gonna lay down some, or I'm going to lay down some technique, some methodology, getting your fuck on with a purpose. Alright, a couple of things we need to get out the way that came through a solution for cleansing the system. You have to get what they call food grade peroxide, and no particular dose. You can follow the instructions on the dosage. Usually with a strong dose, they give you over a time period to start building up. They'll start with like a quarter teaspoon, and after a week a half a teaspoon, then the third week full teaspoon, something like that. I would say go a little bit harder than the instructions, and you want to take a gallon of water and treat that gallon of water with the food grade peroxide, which is something you should be doing anyway. It adds oxygen to the system, and helps to alkalize the system. I said health for magic. Health and eating healthy is to sustain your human body. It does not make you more magical. It will clear the body and rest the body and nurture the body so you can have a clear mind to do magic. But just by eating foods, you do not become more spiritual. That's a bunch of nonsense. You become more healthy, and it's wise to do that for its own reasons. But you do not get into heaven with vegetables. We need to be absolutely clear on that. What I do recommend for everyone is to do things to alkalize the system. A more alkaline system is a more magical system. It's your natural state of your system, and it's a more psychic system. And the communication between the nerves and the nervous system is more efficient with an alkaline system. So that I would say is more of a must than versus a acidic system for your magical apparatus. But just eating vegetables is not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? A couple of things I want to do. I want to shout out my brother, the Red Pill, because I was watching a tape online that was on 125th Street, and there was a young rapper, just another stupid idiot rapper who I've never even heard of. But apparently this guy has some sort of, I don't know, whatever he has out now. He seems to be known amongst younger people. And so, they were interviewing and had a camera on him, and he said, a long line of idiotic bullshit. You know what I mean? And up until he said Jimmy Iovine, who is just a white man in the music business, is his god. He also said a bunch of foolishness about how he respected Anton LaVey as an occultist. Well, Anton LaVey is the dude who created the Church of Satanism, which is not really an occult organization. It is an organization that's just basically opposite the church, and its fanfare came from just doing what they thought Satan would do, which Satan does not exist. It's a negative polarity. So they made Satan just the opposite of Jesus, and instead of what Jesus would do, it became what Satan would do. And basically their whole philosophy is that just fuck, suck, and be merry, and we're Satanists. You draw a pentagram on a woman's ass, and she's the altar, and then you get down with it. So basically it's folly and foolishness in the grander scheme of things. It's just another philosophy. It's an anti-religion philosophy, which now is it's the religion of anti-religion. So you have a young black man talking about he respects that, and Red Pill had to come in and explain to him that there's other occultists that exist. This is our science. This has nothing to do with them. They running around this shit, and we truly run it. And, and the more stupidity the guy said, what I noticed in Red Pill is he could have tore this guy to smithereens, but I seen him reserve himself, which is actually the trait of a true master. Your ego will only have you out there trying to beat this boy in the head with information that you know is better. But sometimes you just got to let the idiots be idiots. Let the dead lay with the dead. So he said, I enjoyed the way Red Pill was able to reserve from giving them the ass whipping that I know Red Pill could have delivered to him. So I thought that was the trait of a real advanced master, to be able to reserve himself and let this dude destroy himself, if you want to look at it that way. But it also shows that when you know what you know, you go to there's a time where you feel you need to prove it to everybody else what you know, and then there's a time where you are so satisfied and convinced in what you know, proving to someone else who hasn't yet found out is you don't feel it's no longer your responsibility. In fact, it's not myself, or anyone's responsibility to prove any of this to you. It's up to you to prove this shit to yourself. So I appreciate Red Pill for that. I'll tell you about the baking soda. Real active right now for anyone who's doing pineal work. Ray Charles has been coming through. He's been doing a lot of work to help bring light to my pineal gland. So those of you who are on the level of channeling, which you should be by now, it's not really a hard thing. If you need to learn how, that's what my classes are for. I give you detail on this. But those of you who are in communication at this point, Ray Charles is absolutely the guy to deal with if you're dealing with pineal work. And a lot of your work should be pineal work. He will bring light. So you need to get some of that Ray Charles music, download it, and get into a meditative zone. Ray Charles is very active. All right. So now we're going to get into some of this sexual sorcery. And we need to understand this for the forms of true manifestation. You can manifest at your most powerful through sexual union. The man and a woman coming together represents the completeness of universal creation. You get what I'm saying? So when you come together in a sexual union, you are coming together to represent on earth that completeness, that fullness. And the universe is one of the universe's goals, its main goals is constant creation. So when you come together in this sexual union, you're at your actual most creative. This is how we also bring forth new life here. We create new life through this act. The most, in an earth context, powerful thing you can do, or as an earthling, is create new life, help manifest and keep the party going through your seed. So if we know that we have to go further and understand that anything can be created through the sexual union. We know that the woman's vagina is a black hole or a gateway, and it as a black hole, it brings your light in, but it also can manifest as a gateway and bring the seen here, which is your child, and also the unseen. And in sexual sorcery, what we're trying to do is manifest the unseen, manifest the intentions, and there are very specific ways to do that. We're going to go through a couple of techniques. The first one we're going to deal with is the master of metaphysics and the master of sexual alchemy, let's say. Now, you've always heard, I'm sure, whenever tantric sex or sex comes up, and we're going to talk about the differences, whenever these things come up about cultivating the seed and saving the seed. This is not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about saving the seed. We're talking about releasing the seed with a magical intention to give birth to your intentions, as opposed to cultivating sexual energy for whatever the fuck you think you're going to be doing later, to make yourself, well, I mean, to be honest, you can, to cultivate it for a man, you can, to recycle your seed, you become that Jesus or that Christ or that light. But really what I've come to tap into, and I think anybody could with practice, is on your sperm, what impregnates the woman is light, or what they call solar phallic energy. So with technique and visualization, which is some of the what we're going to get into today, you can still release your sperm without losing your solar phallic energy. That could be done. Physically, we're up to that understanding. When you hear people talking, well, hold under your nuts, and so the sperm will ejaculate and all the rest of that kind of shit. And then there's people that after you hold on, you'll be able to ejaculate without holding underneath your testicles and all of this kind of shit. All of that is, in my opinion, step one, because ultimately what you're not releasing is that light, because you make sperm all fucking day, and your sac is constantly making this fluid and liquid called sperm, but that light is what gets the woman pregnant, and what is most valuable, how to cultivate that light and release the light when you're trying to have a baby, or when you're trying to create your magical intention, which is a baby. Now, first we can start, I'll give a couple of books for those type of techniques and pulling off, really cultivating energy for yourself, as opposed to releasing your energy for the act of creating. You want to get Montauk Chia's books. This is a good one for men. The Secrets of Love, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy, where he gives you techniques as a man to, physical techniques and things to do as a man to hold on and cultivate sperm as a life force. A lot of pulling up, sitting on the edge of the chair and pulling up the energy back up to the brain. That's what they're trying to do. And another good book by Montauk Chia, Mantakchia, is Healing Love Through Tao, Cultivating Female Sexual Energy. So he did one for the females too. I believe he's the guy who came up with the phrase sexual kung fu, which you can study on, and so on and so forth. This is another good book, Taboo, Sex, Religion, and Magic, by Christopher Hyatt and Lon Milo Duquette. I always tell you about Lon Milo Duquette. He's a very good white writer. I know this looks backwards on camera, but at least you have an idea of what the book looks like. Lon Milo Duquette's name is spelled Lon space Milo, and his last name is Duquette, and Christopher S. Hyatt. Taboo, Sex, Religion, and Magic shows you where these taboos and these practices come up around the world. So they go through, it's an old book, but they go through it. And we'll get into a couple more books. So as I pointed out, we're going to get into the magical aspect. Now, one of the old tantric masters, a black man, the father of metaphysics, is Pascal Beverly D. Randolph, and I know I always fuck his name up. But Randolph said that he trained Lincoln in sexual alchemy, and there was this rumored Lincoln library where he filmed all of these orgies and sexual acts. Lincoln was a freak nigga, but Pascal Beverly D. Randolph is the one that brought metaphysics to the West. Helena P. Blavatsky and them really got their shit from him, as it's told. Now you can go into the many things that Randolph has broke down, and like I said, this is a black man, and you can find books on him, and as the father of metaphysics, much information on him. But let's talk about some of the sexual sorcery that he's brought to the planet. All right, so he had very specific techniques, and Randolph's system, and he spoke to the novice, the new people. He would ask you to develop four distinct abilities for sexual alchemy. Now, first one was called Volantia, Volantia. It meant Volantia means a calm and focused direction of the will. A calm and focused direction of the will. He gives you a technique on how to focus your will, because your will is basically your intention. So your intention for anything in magic and as well as sexual magic is the foundation of any ritual, anything you would do. That's why you're doing it. That's your purpose. You have an idea in your mind that you need to make manifest on the planet. So this is also connected or synonymous with what they call the will. So his first step is you need to focus that will, or focus your intention to the point where it's so strong that it carries out through the whole ritual or through the whole sexual act with strength enough to stay focused for manifestation. So this is a technique, he says. Take a disc of black pepper, attach it to a white wall, stare at the disc fixedly for a minute or two, then look at the blank white surface. A active image of the disc will appear before the eyes. Attempt to hold on to the image for as long as possible. It will disappear and reappear a few times, but hold on it for as long as possible. Okay, what he's talking about, and we used to do this, I remember they used to do it on cereal boxes. They'll have a white background and they'll give you a black image. You stare hard at this image, then they'll tell you look at the refrigerator, another white background. And that image that you were just staring at would appear on the second white background. Now, it's a trick, of course, an illusion of the eye, but this is also a technique in magic called scrying. 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 A good book on this is Donald Tyson's book, The Beginner's Guide to Scrying. And scrying is basically looking deeply into an object, and like the same way you daydream, you look deeply into that object, and images or ideas begin to start popping in your head as you go into a certain level of trance. The same trance is that same trance of daydreaming, where you're there but you're kind of zoned out. So you're doing that purposely in the act of scrying. So in this particular technique, he's telling you to look at a background and put an object. He gives the example of like a piece of black pepper or a black object. You could, and if you can't find a wall, what you could do is get a sheet of white paper, from the printer. Put a black object and stare on it. And he recommends you do this every day. Let's see. Because what it does, Randolph points out, it develops attention, concentration, and the force of attraction. Randolph makes this clear. If you experience discomfort or fear during these exercises, you should back off from the path of magic altogether. Randolph was, we're going to get into it, very secretive. Like most occultists, they give you two stories. To the advanced person, they give you the true route, which is really less easier and less complicated. But then to the logical person, the person still stuck in reasoning, still suck in, I want to know that science. What's the science? See, I'm different. I'm into the practice of it, which is different from, and I know how to explain what I'm practicing and what I've tapped into, but I'm not stuck on the level, what's the science of it? You get what I'm saying? And so what I do notice is what occultists will do is mask true magical, how could you say, practice or true magical methodology in logic as well. So what that says is the person who's ready for true access to magical technique is going to see the technique with math that's hidden within the layers and layers of calculation, bullshit, science, or pseudoscience. They're gonna the person who's spiritually not ready is gonna attract themselves to the science and be able to repeat the shit all day. The person who's ready is gonna wipe all that shit away and get right to it. That's an occult technique to hide it in your face. You need to know that. And I know I can reveal that because if you are on that level and they ain't ready, you won't even hear that message. The ones that are ready will be able to go within whatever situation and find technique to have access. We're not interested in what Randolph has accomplished as much as accomplishing what Randolph has accomplished. So he'll say, and you'll hear things like, if you experience discomfort or fear during these exercises, you should abandon the path of magic altogether. Fuck abandoning what you're doing here, abandon the path of magic altogether. That's what Randolph says. Basically, when you start, and I hear it all the time, I felt this and I was scared and I was doing this and I was scared, then you should stop. Because this shit is about facing your demons. And that means these demons or fear is going to emerge when you're going through. When you face it and conquer that so-called fear, you are actually going to the next level. But now if you feeling discomfort, God looking at the goddamn piece of pepper on a goddamn white paper, then this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? And let me be clear on that. What I do is not for the entire black race. It is not to save the entire black race. This is for self-enlightenment and self-alchemy. What the message I have are for those who are ready for it. The ones who are not ready for it, y'all can have a conversation amongst yourselves about whatever it is you people talk about. But it has nothing to do with me. I'm an actor. I act on this. You get what I'm saying? And I encourage y'all to act on this, on your ancient science, instead of just revering it from afar. You can have access to it now. Ain't nothing wrong with you. According to Randolph, several months after repeating this exercise for a few minutes each day, you'll be able to create an astral form easily while staring at a white surface, and to communicate with the forms you create. So by doing this technique and building up the will, it gives you the foundation to communicate with your intentions correctly, which is an important foundation for magic. You got to know what you want. As a man thinketh. So if as a man thinketh in the true occult sense is that it's your thoughts are the foundations of everything in this manifestation. So you can't have it, you can't say this is spookism or whatever, because you've already agreed that you have to think before you do anything. You have to think before you act. And everything on earth is nothing more than a fucking act. You get what I'm saying? And to be an actor or participant in it, it starts right here. The mind is all and the universe is mental. This is the all. So it started here, your ability to focus here. And to focus your will and intention is the foundation for any magical act, especially a sexual one. And this is called Volantia by our brother, Pascal Beverly Randolph. The second technique is called decretism, D-E-C-R-E-T-I-S, decretism or decretism. Decretism is the ability to give orders that are instantly obeyed by both yourself and others. This is not a skill you acquire through exercise, but rather one you develop on your own, primarily from disciplined exploration of the previous practice, but also simply through the course of a decisive life. So basically, once you build up the will in your first exercise, you need to be able to have the ability to call on and command your intention without going through a whole process. You get what I'm saying? This would be, on a human level, what we call decisiveness. You're able to make a decision or react with your same intention all the way through. You get what I'm saying? All the way through. Your same intention can be called upon in a natural way, as opposed to you having to breathe, think about it, look to the east, look to the north. You know what it is you're about. See, I know what it is about. And you'll find this in like a salesman, someone who's selling you something. So everything becomes what they're selling. So you say, we need to go to the store. Well, yeah, that's where we could buy that. We need to do this. Yeah, that's where we could get that. And this dude becomes almost obsessed with whatever his agenda or goal is. And usually, like I said, we do it for a physical act. What Randolph is talking about, once you figure out how, step one, how to harness and focus on your will, how to make it manifest as a form as a natural extension of yourself. You get what I'm saying? And how others will react to that. So, for instance, if you want to be a janitor, you first have to think it, and you have to think all things janitor. What the new hot buckets are. Get the mop, the mop, industrious 4,000 floor sweeper mop, the new hot shit on the street. You have to think about and understand all these things. That's your intention. And then your second level, and which he calls decretism, is for this, after you got to this level of janitorism, to be able to be it. Everything becomes a janitor manifestation. And when he says control others, that others see you as a janitor. So when you see that nigga, go, that nigga is a janitor right there. Look at that dirty motherfucker. And so, which means is basically a form of you manifesting it, but basically, this is at the point where everything speaks to you. When Khadijah was learning massage therapy, every goddamn thing became a massage. Yeah, and that massage. When they massage you, do that. That bitch need a massage. Every motherfucker walking in front of you, that motherfucker needed a massage. That's the act of it. That's that part. Now the third thing. Now you gotta remember, Pascal Beverly Randolph was did yoga and was into eating correctly. Eating the right organic foods, which is just basically more etheric foods that feed more etheric levels. So don't get me wrong. Eating right is absolutely great for your physical health, and it does feed your spirit, your etheric body. It will not. Now understand, it feeds and nourishes your etheric body. It does not. You're eating more light foods with more light, but it will not do the alchemy for you. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, it's much smarter to eat these types of foods. And the third thing, smarter. So Pascal D. Beverly Randolph did point this out. And he pointed it out for sexual alchemy, so I can't deny that he did point it out. Now, you got to remember the times as well. So he also talks about something called poseism. Poseism is Randolph's system of gestures. It consists of an array of strange postures, movements, and positions that enable various purposes. The Decreeism, the second level, gives these powers, give these postures their power. The poses do not really relate actively to sex magic, but would take us quite far from our topic if they went into it. And he says it'll take it off the topic because of it gets basically into yoga positioning. Now, Randolph, you probably can look it up or get one of Randolph's books and find out these positions. But we can get in, without getting through these postures or positions, we can get in the idea of postures and positions. In yoga or anything, when you're staying in a position, a lot of what it has to do with is disciplining the body. And in sex magic, where this comes in and why this is important, because you need to start disciplining yourself to release your orgasm at will instead of just having an orgasm. So it's basically by training the body in certain postures, you are actually building up discipline in certain areas of the body. And like I said, Randolph gives specific postures for this purpose. And he probably talks about it in detail, what it's for. But basically, if you get into poses, but you may be able to figure out some poses of your own to create a discipline to, if you're not able yet, to hold your orgasm and release it at will. Now, we'll get into that later about love. We'll just go through the fourth one. The fourth practice and final basic, this is for the novice that they must master before they even begin sex magic, is called triuclearism. 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 This is Randolph's term for the ability to invoke communication with invisible beings like angels, spirits, and the dead. Now, this is the highest form of that sexual alchemy. Because the whole idea is you are doing a spiritual act, and you need to be able to communicate with these spiritual forms, because ultimately these spiritual forms are energies of what's going to help you manifest your intention. And most of you niggas got little small-minded intentions for fucking money and to become a rapper. So y'all fucking for that, lame-ass niggas. What Randolph understood, and probably didn't even have to say, if you were in this work, what you were trying to do was find out mysteries, secrets, light, and what is hidden within inside of you as the human, or the human pretending to be ignorant. You're re-establishing yourself with that light. So it just goes without saying that you need to be able to invoke what you call angels, spirits, or the dead. And the dead is nothing more than just your ancestors through this sexual act. His instructions for developing this ability is very simple. First, master step 1, volantia. Master that exercise. Simply fix the image of a flaming star in your mind's eye and invoke the desired personal characteristic traits you want to manifest in yourself through the medium of a flaming star. So I've told you this before, and I'll tell you again, and Randolph is telling you now, that to fuck and become a god, to be a god, one of the paths to that is you need to fuck like a god, which means you have to visualize yourself as that particular god, and each god has the opposite polarity, which is the consort. So you have to, through deep visualizations, which we'll get into the understanding of, you have to become that god and fuck like the god. So that's why you have to master step 1 to be able to see or visualize an intention and become it. So if you're trying to invoke Shiva, you must see yourself as Shiva. Eat, walk, talk like Shiva before the act, and you're fucking one of his consorts, Pravati, Shakti, Kali, or whatever it is you're trying to invoke, to really ultimately to change to actually become that energy instead of trying to access that energy. There's a difference. Most of us are on the level of we're accessing an energy, which is another way of saying it's outside of you. So once you realize and know how to bring it inside of you, you're bringing it through the act of sex. Now you also can do it where you just have an intention. You know, if niggas is taking your house, I'm not going to call it petty to fuck to keep your house. You get what I'm saying? So you can also fuck to keep. That could be your intention. You have to synchronize it with your other, which we'll get into. So his flame and star technique, which is a Kundalini technique, which is you seeing the flame, and out of the flame you're seeing the characteristics of that deity come out of that fire flame, and y'all gods becoming. Now, this technique can be used in the midst of sexual act, or even without the sexual act. Because basically, you can visualize these things without sex. Sex takes it up another level, but he's trying to be well grounded. In fact, Randolph's actual sexual instructions make absolutely no mention of any of these 4 items ever again. So basically, he's saying once you do it, you over it. And each of these things are things that you should be over. Perhaps not the last one, because the last one is the actual practice. Everything else helps you build up the strength to be the visualizer and stay in that visualization. The posism and all that helps you stay in the moment, because you know when you busting your nut, it's hard to stay in the moment. And in fact, when you get to the Montauk Chia and others, there's a lot of breathing and a lot of focus and a lot of counting and shit like that, which you can say is, if you built up the point where you're going beyond the lust aspect of sex, it can be accomplished, and you know it's accomplished, else it wouldn't exist. But some people are a little bit more imaginative. See, I'm a little bit more imaginative than I am going to count while I'm fucking. So I can visualize and stay in the visualization. See, and that's really much more easy and more natural, because especially each of us bring a certain element of fantasy to our fucking. When you first fucking a girl, you could be in that moment because the lust is high. But after you 10, 11 fucks in, you're going to have to add some shit. So you start putting on fucking titty boosters and butt plugs and all that other shit. You're doing all of this because you're adding an element of visualized imagination to the love making. So we do that naturally. Masturbation, especially for guys, you've had every fucking forbidden woman that you can count in your fucking mind. So this process, you're elevating it to a goal now. So it's the same thing. So that's a little bit easier than counting in all the rest. So it says, once you develop the 4 powers described above, you can then start getting into Randolph's sexual magic. So you haven't even gotten to the sexual magic yet. You just went into we just laid out Randolph's basics. There's really 2 basic principles in his instruction. The sex act should be a loving and a spiritual connection with someone that you love. You can accomplish what you want magically by simply thinking about it throughout the sex act. Very important. Randolph says it, and I would have said this too, as opposed to Crowley, which we're going to get into. Crowley's definition of sex magic. Randolph points out that you need to be in love with the person that you're having this act with, that you're doing the magic with. Because love is the highest frequency of creation. So even if you're not in love with the person, you don't let it not be a prostitute, and don't necessarily despise the person or running game on the person. Be it with someone you do respect as a partner. If you're not in holy matrimony with them, let it be someone that you respect as a partner. And that connection. See, now we need to understand this connection. I had a girl that, we were in love in the 80s, in the early 90s. Now, with sex with her at that time, I could make her orgasm at will. We had sex so much, her body so much. Your sexual prowess with that particular woman is, and I'm sure guys have experienced somewhere, it's insane. Your control. You can move to the left, she's busting a nut when you decide to move to the left. And that's a big deal, because in sexual, and we're going to get into more of these details, in sexual magic, the key is the woman's orgasm. The woman has different levels of orgasm. And the women can go to a certain level of orgasm, but they get into higher levels of orgasm when they're in love. And that higher power or level of orgasm is deeper into the abyss, or deeper into the darkness that you're pulling out into light. And anybody will understand that's where you're trying to go. The deeper the better, on 2 levels. Now, so this happens through love, because love is the ultimate form of releasing yourself or giving yourself for a woman. And she has to be free to have that level of orgasm. Now, the other idea, or the other side of that coin, is that the hoe is free because she has no inhibitions about releasing herself. So she can go to levels too. So when you get into like Satanism and sex magic, they're looking for the hoe. That's the other side of it. They're, this virtuous love woman who gives to you and nothing but you, and she's free with you, and she could be herself with you, versus the hoe that could fuck anybody and tap in these levels. So she's not doing it for you. She's doing it to bust her nut. You get what I'm saying? She's not giving herself to you. She's getting shit from you. And that you could tap in that way. And that's more Crowley's interpretation of it. Randolph is be with this one you love, because what they were doing weren't just material in their sexual. Crowley and them was more material, because Crowley as a white man had to discover these mysteries. Randolph as a natural black man understood he was the father of these mysteries. So it wasn't that he had to do all of these things and try all these experiments. To tap into that level of love with his woman for sexual alchemy was a way of becoming or returning or experiencing or connecting with what he naturally was. Crowley and them niggas was trying to get in the game. Now, Bobby used to tell this to me all the time in many ways. When I was fucking a bunch of witches, he was like, yo, you got to tap into that love shit. Tap into that love shit. So I'm like, okay. He's like, no, it's the next level of blah, 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 blah. And you think you just hearing like, some sucker for love shit, some Barry White shit, some Barry Manilow shit. But then it took me a while, but I started getting with it, because I started getting empty, just fucking a whole bunch of chicks at will, twosomes and threesomes. I know it sounds exciting, but after a while, it only cultivates the ego. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to go to the level of love. And after that, I started understanding how my power went to a whole other level of tapping in when me and Khadijah got together. And I understood what Bobby was talking about. It wasn't no Barry Manilow shit. It was actually enhances your power. You know what I'm saying? Enhances your power. So that's actually what you got to do to truly tap in, and that's the angle that Randolph came from. And that's kind of where I'm leaning towards as a more powerful way to tap into the sexual act. And as I pointed out, it says, Randolph also gave a lot of extra scientific instruction, and most people who are occultists, who are real occultists, understand That's done to protect the core of magical truth from the unworthy. Unworthy. Listen closely now. The essence of sex magic is much simpler. Much simpler. I need you to, I know it's hard. I need niggas to understand this shit. All of this facing to the east and twisting your balls up, sitting down with your leg around your head and all of that. Alright, have at it. If that's what you think, have at it. But here you have it. Randolph talking about it, the essence of sex magic is much simpler. Much simpler. And that's what we're going to get into today. Alright, if a man wishes a force or power into being and guards the wish from the instant that he penetrates the woman until the instant that he withdraws from her, his wishes are necessarily fulfilled. So what Randolph is talking about is through the whole act, you must keep your intention. Now that's harder than it seems because most of us going in there to bust nut, to make this hole holler or whatever it is you decide to put your dick out for. So it becomes very hard for you to say, I'm pulling my dick out to learn the mysteries of Osiris. And that be your whole thing. You get what I'm saying? But it's actually easy if you got, that's why you have to be past lust with the women. Don't even try sex magic with a hoe you just started trying to fuck. Or a queen or a goddess that you just made union with, whatever whatever makes y'all feel happy about how you're going to say this. Because you're still on the level of lust. So you have to get the lust out the way. Basically, you have to get used to the sex. And then once you're used to the sex, that means your mind can focus. You can do two things at once. You can still put in work because you're used to it, but you could keep a focus on your mind, an intention on your mind. So if you become an Osiris, you need to be fucking Isis, Asar, or Set. So from the time you go in to from the time you pull in to the time you pull out. From the time you pull in to the time you pull out, you need to be have that one thought in your mind. So, and that's where the exercises of Randolph come in about focusing the will. All right. So Randolph's actual instruction for sex magic is extremely simple, though he adds additional instructions to first formulate the greatly confused matter, expanding it into a complicated scheme that takes 48 days to accomplish. Ignoring these complications, and they even recommend to ignore the complications. Here are Randolph's basic instructions. So Randolph added, you got to do this for 48 days. All of that shit, I'm telling you with all my heart, is to throw unworthy niggas off. Who the fuck is going to be thinking about pussy for 48 fucking days about one goddamn thing for the purpose of sex magic? Shit, you might as well just go fucking get your GED and get a new job before you sit around 48 days trying to cultivate a sex magical act. Nah, it could be done in one day. So even here they're saying, ignoring all that 48 days bullshit, this is one of Randolph's instructions. Think through your magical purpose in advance. Keep a clear image of your goal in your mind throughout the sex act. This is why you spent all that time looking at that disc on the paper, because your first is to keep this, get it in your mind. Second, consider sex a prayer. So all that praying you used to do to Jesus, you got to look at sex or cultivate that feeling in your heart, that needing feeling that you did when you got on your knees in church and you was like, oh, whoever the fuck ever you praying to, give me that and help me with that in your precious name. That same need or feeling, you have to feel that and think of that as the sex act. So consider sex a prayer. Regard whether you're willing to exist prayerfully through the sex act. So you need to exist prayerfully through the sex act. Both sexual partners should prayerfully think about the same thing. So your woman in the sex act, you shouldn't be doing this alone. So whatever it is you're trying to do, you need to share with the intention, and y'all both need to come to terms with the one intention, the one image you're going to hold on to, the one idea. You both should be a family that prays together, stays together. You know what I'm saying? Pray to that pussy. Oh, we talked about scrying. One of the most powerful things you can do is, because you can scry almost into any object. Most people scry into crystals. If you're trying to contact fairies, you scry into nature. But the most powerful thing you could do is scry into your woman's vagina. So have your woman lay back, open it up, and just sit there and stare lovingly into your woman's vagina, her vagina. Look into the vagina. There's a book called, I don't think I brought him in here, called The Cunt Coloring Book. The Cunt Coloring Book. You can find it. And basically, it's I think it's a woman who drew all of these actual vaginas. And basically, you're supposed to, it's a way to love your vagina. You're supposed to color them in. You know, color in the pussies. So it's like a coloring book of cunts. But the concept is that you're beginning to love and see images in her drawings, because you'll start to see images in her drawing based upon scrying into the pussy. So you need to take this to the next level. Just have your lady open up her pussy and you stare deeply into the vagina. Images and all sorts of light beings, enlightenment. You'll have some great fucking ideas. You know what I'm saying? Get off the pussy. Oh, baby, you need to listen to goddamn R. Kelly and go to a step show. Your pussy has told me this. And so women can also get a mirror scribed to their own vagina. This is a gateway. You can command things to come out that gateway, whatever it is. Or you can prepare the pussy through scrying for what you're about to do to it. About to defame that pussy. Alright, so number 3, cleanse all lust from your sex act. Make it a spiritual uniting of your innermost selves. So again, he's hard on it. Get the lust, get past the lust. You know what I'm saying? And really, the ultimate way to get past the lust of anyone is you have to love that person. That's the ultimate. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to still give you Crowley, because the other side of that coin is deep lust. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who don't have a lover in your life. Now, he says the female should tremble with desire at least twice before the partner climaxes. All right. 2 ways to look at that. As what I pointed out with my first girlfriend and a few girlfriends afterwards, that y'all had so much sex and y'all was such a perfect union that you knew how to make her orgasm at will. So before you even bust a nut, you make her orgasm. Primarily with the dick, but if you have to eat the pussy, so be it. You know what I'm saying? Have her come before you even think about busting off. At least, what's his name? Randall says twice. If you could do it like that, may Allah be with you. But at least once, have her nut before you, which is something we usually or should be doing anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm not busting a nut and be like, whoo, I'll be right back, sweetie. That ain't gonna happen. She's busting a nut, then we end it off. Now, this happens more by mistake, but if you can get to the level with your lady, this is why you have to be with somebody who you are with to orgasm together. If you can do that, you know, and keep that intention in your mind, you are cooking with gasoline. All right, so 5, be sure to think of your magical purpose at orgasm. See, the idea is the orgasm is so powerful, you're going to start going into zones, but you need to be able to keep that intention during orgasm. All right? Your sexual partner should be a worthy one, your lover or your spouse or someone whom you are devoted to. Um, um, Not a prostitute or a base person. So not somebody you just fucking sticking your dick in and you don't get, some of that ugly hoe that, you catch on what we used to call a chud night. Keep your intentions secret, private between you and your partner. Meaning you don't need to go blab to your neighbors about what you're doing. It's between you and her. This is your magical baby, and you need to keep this intention secret. The more you put it out in the open and put it in other people's minds, the more they can sabotage your intentions with your thoughts. So you keep all your magical operations to yourself because it's between you and your subconscious mind. And its chances for success are greater without thought forms or other people's thought forms being involved in it. Be cleanly to the person in your life. You know what I mean? So y'all should see this sex act as not a dirty, funky thing. You're clean, and it's a actual, for lack of a better word, a godly act. And actually, a better word is a spiritual act. It's not just fucking to bust your rocks off. Now, this is what Randolph says, to be absolutely fair. Always eat natural foods, and avoid hard spirits and liquor. Sleep. Now, he also says sleep and perform sexual magic on a hard bed with your head oriented to the north. That doesn't seem that hard. Get a compass, find out which way is north, and when you're on your bed, fuck in that direction. Just put your head in that direction. So if your bed faces east, just turn and fuck on the side. That where your head faces north. Now, he also says sleep in a room apart from your partners. Only come together twice a week for sex. Now, some of these white motherfuckers, you'll see that shit on, you don't see it on TV no more. You seen it earlier, and they said they didn't want to show the people in the same bed. But you see them sleep in different rooms, different beds. And then there was an episode that even on Seinfeld, George's parents, he was like, no, we sleep in different beds. You know what I'm saying? He said, Estelle got the Jimmy on. You know what I'm saying? So I can't sleep with that, so we sleep in different beds. So that's actually a thing. And me and Khadijah do it a lot. Now, I've seen in Magic where they said if you sleep with your wife every once in a while, y'all need to sleep separate to recharge. Now, it just so happens that Khadijah gets up and goes to work early, do the massage thing. So I'm a gentleman of leisure, so I don't have to sleep. As such, I can't watch TV in the room. So I find that myself sleeping in the guest room. Naturally, we do this. So when I knew about it, but even seeing now how Randolph promoted this, it makes a lot of sense because we're so powerful. We have to sleep alone a lot. You know what I'm saying? And only come together in sexual congress. All right, and of course, which makes sense. Don't have sex when you're angry or lustful, because you will give birth to that. All right. All right, let's just keep going. Now, that's basically Randolph's technique, to cultivate these four powers, and everything becomes about your intention as you go in, and the whole sex act is just basically, that's how you pray now. You pray through the sexual congress or the sexual union. You keep your intention throughout the sexual act. You share your intention with your partner, who's a loving partner. You share that intention, and ultimately, y'all make manifest through your intention, through your sexual union. Now, Randolph he was talking in a time and had a audience where he could get less funky. He couldn't get funky. In fact, I would say where that's what he had, because remember, he was talking to people like Abraham Lincoln. Them motherfuckers was following him. So he couldn't get too niggery. You get what I'm saying? Crowley, on the other hand, had nothing to lose. So he put the funk in your face a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And really, a lot of people had to decode what Crowley was talking about, because being in the OTO, which was his society, they take an oath not to give out the deeper inner meanings. So in Crowley's published work, he didn't give out OTO secrets, but Crowley is something you have to decode, and he's been decoded all day. And when you decode it, he was giving out a lot of secrets. So let's get into Crowley's idea of sex magic, or his approach. So Crowley strongly believes sex magic was a practice of working magic while engaged in sexual activity, and the great key to all practical magic work. So he believed that damn near all your magic should be done while fucking anything, and he didn't necessarily believe that you need to be with someone you love. You don't need to even share your intention. Basically, because Randolph didn't believe masturbating was sex magic. Crowley did. So having sex with a prostitute could be an act of masturbation as sex magic. Now, can masturbation be sex magic? Oh yeah, I'm of that. I am not. I'll take Randolph and Crowley. We need to stop picking sides. We need to take what works. That's what should run this. What works, as opposed to this one versus that one, or that philosophy versus this philosophy. All right. So Crowley often used the same words to describe mystical purposes that transcends more than just a physical act. So his words that he used in his writings to hide his sexual magic were as follows. So the male penis, he would call lingam, phallus, lion, king, sun, gold, beast, hadit, wand, rood, lance, cross, point, pyramid, towel, fire, or fire. So when he spoke of fire, he was actually speaking of dick. So when you read in his writings, those of you who do read Crowley, when you read in his writings, when he was talking about the Great Pyramid that rises on high, he's talking about the dick. You get what I'm saying? And that's how he disguised his OTO information in these code words. For the female vagina, he would call Yanni, Ketis, Eagle, Queen, Babylon, Newt, Moon, Silver, Cup, Grail, Cup of Abominations, Rose, Circle, Water, Circubite. So all of these things were code words in Crowley's writings for the vagina. Male sexual fluids. Call it the blood of the lion, the blood of the saints, dew, serpent, seed, bindu, sap of the world, ash, wonder tree. This was all for sperm in his writings. Female sexual fluids. Gluten, for all you gluten-free niggas. Pussy juice is gluten. I'm into gluten. Gluten of the eagle, menstruum, egg, Orphic egg. Now, combined sexual fluids, which you need to understand, and we're going to get into the power of combining sexual fluids. The combined sexual fluids was the elixir of life, the elixir, red elixir, when the menstrual blood is involved, white elixir, when no menstrual blood is involved, the stone of the philosopher, tincture, universal medicine, portable gold, the sacrifice of the male child, the perfect innocence, high intelligence, wine of the Sabbath, wine of the adepts, the Eucharist, one of the Eucharist of the one element, and the sacrament of the gnosis. You would often hear Crowley talk about eating the Eucharist, the sexual fluids, but the sexual fluids combined. We call them shits in porno cream pies. You niggas have to get into cream pie. You know what I'm saying? And you weren't eating the entire cream pie. You would take a dot of the sexual fluids, just dot your finger in it and put it under the tongue. And you know, under the tongue, it goes directly into the system. If you put it on the tongue, it goes into the digestive system. But you put it under the tongue, it goes directly in the membrane. And that's how Forgotten Foods tell you to take his elixirs. You put it under the tongue and just let it flow under the tongue. So you do the same thing with the motherfucking cream pie. You take the cream pie, you scared ass niggas, take a dot of it, put it under the tongue. Oh, you heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again now for all you afraid ass niggas. The menstrual is the most powerful shit. Take a dot of that under the tongue, nigga. Nigga, because when you eating pussy, I know you made a mistake and licked the ass, so don't act like you ain't nasty, nigga. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Take it, nigga. This is for the sake of magical manifestation. Because basically, what Crowley talks about, your intention comes through your seed. And we know that to be true. We know whatever you're thinking, most of us are thinking lust. That's why we have these dumbass black kids. You have your kid born out of love. You're in a whole different thing, nigga. This is what y'all niggas need to do if your mother or your father's still alive. You need to ask them their song. What was their song that they loved? You know, that they fell in love to, and this was their song. You could put on that song and balance your whole self out in meditation. Yeah, that's right, niggas. You've heard it first from Brother Panic. My pop's song was Billy Stewart, that weird song, whatever the fuck. Don't laugh, but it's my jam. Because once my father told me that was the song, him and my mother fell in love to that. They slow danced, they fucked to that, and had me to that song. I put on that goddamn Billy Stewart song. That's my shit. Go right into the zone. It's one of the meditations where I can feel my entire life flash before me. Straight balance. So if you're lucky enough to if you're lucky enough to talk to your parents and hear their song, even if they hate each other now, they were in love back then when they created you, and that was the intention. Real balances. So it would be hoped that your parents created you out of act of love. My parents was head over heels in love, married when they had me. Not today. You know what I'm saying? My pops was gone, but you know they weren't cool when they left. But when they had me, which was key. That same concept is of programming your seed. It becomes your magical intention. So you don't have a physical baby, but you created through the sexual fluids or the Eucharist a baby in the spirit world to handle your intentions. So you have to take that dot and eternalize it. And you got to remember, the menstrual blood is nothing more than a baby that would have been. It's her baby. But now it's here to be a worker or a servant for your magical intentions, my unspiritual spiritual niggas. You're gonna have to take that seed, and but at the very least, you're gonna have to eat that cream pie, nigga. After you nut, let her push it out like cream pie 44, black asses oiled up on Daytona Beach. You've seen it. Let her push it out to a certain extent, or stick your finger in that vagina, and when you come out with the fluids, you and her put it under your tongue, or you can put it on a magical object, whatever that object is that represents your intention, your statue. You know what I'm saying? All my statue has Eucharist anointed on their pineal gland. Every statue in this room, every statue around my house, which there are many. So there's a whole lot of fucking going on. A whole lot of fucking going on. I remember this, I was doing some sexual thing after the movie Ray came out. Like I said, Ray Charles is a powerful nigga. Y'all need to fuck with him. I forgot that I got this thing, and I guess why it's coming back up, because he wants me to say, like I said, I've been dealing with Ray. When the movie came out, of course, I channel each of them when they have that. And James Brown movie is coming out. I don't know yet if they're going to do that right, because there's a bunch of assholes involved in it. And James Brown is something you cannot fuck with in terms of a badass movie. Make that shit the movie of the week. But we'll see if that energy, if that James Brown energy is on that movie. And of course that Ray Charles energy was on that movie. Now when Ray Charles came through, he started really telling me to make union with the dark goddess and the light goddess, which was classically enemies. Azuli Danter and Azuli Frida, not enemies in a war sense, but in a jealousy sense. This bitch versus that bitch, which became light skin versus dark skin in the physical realm. So he was telling me the unions were coming together. You've seen that in the movie because he had his wife and then he had his road hoes. You know what I'm saying? Who I used to channel. Her name is Marjorie something. I used to channel her too because before one of her famous songs was the right time or night and day. I think it's night and day, but it's the song that the Cosbys did of Ray Charles on their show, which they fucked that song up. I used to love that song before they got on there and did all that coon shit on it. So I knew who she was. She did Hit the Road Jack and all that. So she was the one, and they showed her in the movie clearly as the one of his bottom bitches on the road. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to channel her anyway because I enjoyed her. Her voice is amazing anyway. So I was glad to even see her portrayed in that film at that time. So she came through as the dark goddess and his wife was the light goddess. And you seen him merge them together. And he was like, it's time to merge these energies together. So I had to fuck a chick from New Orleans and a chick from Haiti, which was our two forms of magic, separated by Haiti being the darker one based upon, the perception, and New Orleans being the happy-go-lucky, lighter form of magic. So I had to I got with one New Orleans chick and another chick that I knew for a while, who we never did it, was conscious, started talking about all this Haiti shit. And then it occurred to me she was the one. So we finally had to fuck. And boy, oh boy, it was probably the worst pussy I got. And that's a bold statement for me, because I'm the nigga that said there's no such thing as bad pussy. It's pussy. But this shit was probably real low, and then she started, after we fucked, and the ocean and the moon has came to converse at the astral pinpoint of the, like, shut the fuck up. I said, this is what you need to do. Dig in your pussy and walk around this motherfucker and put a dot on everybody's goddamn head. She had a lot of altars. It took her about 45 minutes of just digging in her pussy and dotting shit. And then I was just laying back, chilling. And I'm like, you forgot one? She's like, God damn, nigga, that's Malcolm X's picture. I'm like, Malcolm needs one, because that picture when he pointed to his pineal. I said, he's pointing to his pineal. You need to go put some Eucharist on that shit. But she's thinking, well, he's the end. I'm like, no, fuck that. That's a God. Dot him with some goddamn Eucharist, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's real important. That's something I was into. And Crowley talks about the Eucharist, or this fluid. He also talks about, the last thing we'll talk about, his sexual magical procedure. He calls it Formula of the Rosy Cross. The Rosy Cross was the OTO, which was his group's, their symbol. And it's basically a cross with rose and all these other symbols in it. And it has all of these meanings behind it. Oh, 7 petals mean this, and that to the east, and this to the left. So now, but this also tells you that he's calling sexual magical procedure or sexual alchemy formula of the Rosy Cross. The Rosy Cross, he also called it the Rosy Cross, Anasata or Ankh, Sabbath, and remember Ankh is the key of life. So he's talking about this sexual procedure or sexual alchemy. This is the importance he puts on it, coded in his words and in his published works. Sabbath of the Adepts, Mass of the Holy Ghost, the chemical marriage or the chemical nuptials, mystic marriage, the royal art. All right? That's what he calls sexual magical procedure. And all of these particular things are encoded in his book in writings where you wouldn't know what the fuck he's talking about if you didn't have this key. but he was actually laying down the most important thing he actually could do. So most people know about Crowley, but they don't really know about Crowley. See, Crowley wasn't even important in his day. Crowley got more important after he died. Crowley was a big deal back then because people were so manicured when he would say things. It was a big deal back then. If he came out now saying what he said, it wouldn't even be a thing. You know what I'm saying? He would be nobody. But saying it back then seemed devastating to people as this evil demon, and so just him calling himself the Beast was like, ooh, he's the Beast, and all of that back then. But that's because it's back then. The same way Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan, which was even weaker and worse than Crowley, because at least Crowley was into ritual, at least. This motherfucker was into having fun and drinking at a party and just justifying it by calling it Satan, put on some horns every once in a while and a fucking cape. And in the 70s, this, of course, was cutting edge and seemed like something deep. So to that young rapper who's following them, you need to give up rap and get into your niggerism. You know what I'm saying? Your real shit. Because rap shit now got you fucking quite confused. Quite confused. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about Jimmy Iovine and Anthony LaVey are your fucking teachers and fathers, and you respect that. These guys are nothing. Jimmy LaVey is fucking absolutely nothing. But Anton LaVey is nothing. Motherfucker, this was fun for the stars. Like Sammy Davis Jr. was into this. Sammy Davis Jr. You think he was on some real live occult shit? That's the Candy Man. Follow Anthony LaVey. This is fucking horseshit. So, but at the same time, when you say Satanism to anybody in this day and age, they seem to think Anthony LaVey is that dude. Because in the 70s, by him saying, I'm a Satanist, this was cutting edge. Especially when you had actor things like Charles Manson, or whenever he came out, late, probably, I think he was 70s, not 60s. But Charles Manson in the 60s, when you had this stuff like that coming out, what you have when the guy say I'm a Satanist, you attribute it to the mindset of people in America at the time. You attribute it to things like Charles Manson. So you think they're doing shit like making human sacrifices, drinking all sorts of human blood. Your mind goes along with it to think there's something that they're not. But here's the news. Crowley was pretty much guilty of that same type of thing. Though he was steeped a little bit more in ritual than Anton LaVey was, it still wasn't, he still was following our shit. You get what I'm saying? The biggest accomplishment of Crowley was his channel of Raha Hewitt's, which was a version of Horus, according to him. And basically, he had to roam the desert for all this amount of time to get this channel. And in channel, while he was in channel interpreting the words of Raha Hewitt's, someone was writing it down. I forgot the dude's name. And this eventually became what they now call the Book of the Law. So the Book of the Law is Crowley's work, which is followed by occultists like a Bible. And this is where you get that statement, do as thou wilt, that Jay-Z had on his shirt. And Jay-Z's only following it because he thinks it's about money. But do as thou wilt, and you get this other statement, they shall die with the dogs of reason, which is very powerful in the occult. And from Raha Hewitt's, he was getting this channel about what they call the age of Horus, or the aeon of Horus, or the time of Horus. And he was giving him the rules in the time of Horus, and one of them was do as thou wilt, which is every occultist understands as we are no longer bound by systems, traditions, and cult. That's old shit. Where you also get the famous, he shall die with the dogs of reason. Meaning, if you're still trying to reason this with left brain logic, as we pointed out earlier, if you're still trying to reason with this, you will die with that paradigm. Do as thou wilt is the whole of the law, is the whole statement, which is saying in this new aeon, it is from your own mind, from your own free will, where your alchemy or your transformation is going to happen. And your transformation is stifled if you're still trying to reason, still trying to do things that the black community could or should have been doing, if you're still trying to unify this in a way where we all should have a mentality or reason out our plight, you're going to die with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is Crowley's best work. A lot of other things he failed. With a guy named Gregor Mathers, they were able to channel the 72 goetic deities. And these 72 deities, they actually weren't really able to access them. They were able to access the information, but when Crowley went in this house and tried to access them, actually somebody died during this process. Not from contacting the spirits that they never contact, from some other bullshit, but because of the rep of Crowley, they attached this to some demonic thing that was happening. But it basically brought bad luck to the house, and they never really tapped into anything in this Crowley house. And one of the big deals were with Crowley, after he was dead and gone, they said he was a government agent. You can go on and on for days with this fucking funny dude. But they said he was one of the biggest things that happened. The Beatles, who were deep occultists or understood deep occult concepts and mind control, probably one of the greatest bands in terms of creating hype ever. You have to watch. I can't remember this documentary, but they have this rumor that they started. It's fucking real interesting that when they first got big, went on the Ed Sullivan show and all the Screaming Girls, that Paul McCartney got into a car accident, the real Paul McCartney. But they were so big that they created a fake dude that looked like Paul McCartney, got operations like Paul McCartney to be Paul McCartney all through the years. So there's been, and they call him Fall. Look up fake Beatle. The story is real interesting. So throughout all the albums, they kept showing all of these clues that this was a fake Paul McCartney. Like the real Paul McCartney was right-handed. This guy is holding in his left hand on this album. They had this album, I think it's Abbey Lane or whatever the fuck it is, where they're all walking and you can see their shadows, but Paul doesn't have a shadow. So they're saying this represents that Paul is really dead. He doesn't have a shadow. And people were going through this information through their albums. The White Album means this, all of this. There's this whole world of shit about every single album they did through the artwork and the symbology about all of this shit about this fake Paul. I said, oh my goodness, they were putting this out because one of them started, they interviewed him and he was basically alluding to the fact that it was a fake Paul. I said, oh, this was ill because they actually did this purposefully so people would talk. And they became a part of their phenomenon was this. In fact, it made me understand why Michael Jackson was so interested in the Beatles, did a song with Paul McCartney, and bought all the rights to their album based upon this genius story. The same type of stories Michael was trying to put out with Elephant Man Bones and Oxygen Tank and all that other weirdo kid shit that he was doing to get people talking beyond just your records, which is a science. Beatles did this masterfully, which with occult science, and one of the things they did with an album with all these faces on was put Aleister Crowley's face on it, which is still talked about to this day, that Aleister Crowley's face is on one of their albums. So which tells you they understood the science of the occult, and what they were doing was the occult forms of mind control and ritual with this whole thing with Paul McCartney. Real interesting shit. It was a documentary on Netflix. I haven't seen it on there for a while. Try to find it. Look up Paul McCartney, fake Paul McCartney, Beatles. There's whole web pages on it. You'll probably find the name of that documentary. All right. So, keeping on with Crowley. We understand his words. So Crowley's sex magic system is quite similar to Randolph's in a number of ways. like Randolph, is really quite uncomplicated. Launching a magical wish with your orgasm is the essential element of both systems. Launching a magical wish with your orgasm. That's all we're doing here. We don't need to count. We don't need to breathe. We don't need to twist our nuts in a knot. We don't need to sit up in a position for 18 hours. It doesn't take 4 days. You launch your wish with an orgasm. But the idea is deep visualization of that wish. And like I said, those 4 practices are the way to do it. All right, the idea of the Eucharist, using the sexual fluid as a consecrated magical item, either to be eaten or placed on a magical object, was very important to Crowley. So we already talked about that Eucharist and how important it is. And Crowley's seen it the same way. And remember, Crowley's not special, not by a long shot. He's only imitating and had the audacity to put out Negro information, the colored man's work. You African American, this is your shit. You need to know that. We don't have the luxury of saying the white man came out the cave and we created him. He's only been here 2 years ago. And to think that any white man could write detailed sex magic or have any detailed form of occultism. This is you. You all day. You get what I'm saying? And every single book, every single white man is doing a cheap interpretation of you. So this is your science to be done right by you. They're not even getting nowhere. They're just playing dress up compared to what it is you can accomplish if you got into your shit. Stop trying to be what they taught you. You need to understand that. No matter if you're talking a different dialect than they taught you, but the methodology of how you dispense, learn, and regurgitate it is how they taught you. They taught you to think like a logical motherfucker. We were doers. That's why we created what we created, because we were hands-on. All we're doing now is just fucking describing it on paper. You know what I'm saying? Everything is true on paper. You can make anything exist on paper. So you need to be a doer and see what you've accomplished. What I'm telling you is based upon shit that I've done, and I know in my heart, I believe you can do it too. There's nothing more special about me than there is about you, so you can do it too. Crowley describes the Eucharist of sexual fluids this way. The highest form of the Eucharist is that which the element is consecrated is one. So the two become the one, the feminine and the masculine. The one substance and not the two, not living, not dead, neither liquid nor solid, neither hot nor cold, neither male nor female. He's talking about polarity now. Not hot nor cold, not male nor female, not left nor right, not negative or positive, but now the one. The one. And we know God is the one. Goddess is the one. In union. That union is sexual. The combining of male and female sexual essences in one substance, thus turned into something divine by physical and psychological action, makes up the substance of the Eucharist. So psychological is the thought intention, and physical is the actual fucking. It becomes one. The substance of the Eucharist. Of its virtue, he writes about the Eucharist. And basically of the purity of the Eucharist. It is the medicine of metals, the stone of the wise, the potable gold, the elixir of life. Of course, this God-eating of sexual fluids is reminiscent of the Gnostics and even of Eastern Tantric practices. So, as I pointed out, Crowley ain't make this shit up. This is in Gnosticism, which are later-day Egyptians, and this is in Eastern Taoist sex practices. And that's what I pointed out in Montauk Chia's books. This is sexual tantric of the Taoist. Alright? So, eat that cream pie, nigga. Get on your cream pie game, nigga. Oh, what's for dessert, darling? Cream pie. In Crowley's sex magics, these charged fluids are considered the incarnation of a little magical god. He expresses the will of the magician or magicians. Man and women are incomplete images of the divine by themselves.
So the divine is man and woman together. And that's, again, what I understand now, what Bobby was talking about, why I must leave these witches alone and get in and fall in love, because no matter how you slice it, it's incomplete. And brief encounters, sexual acts between someone that you're not in a holistic relationship with are only sheer moments of your God power, really. When you're in that loving embrace, I'm 24 hours of completed. Every single thing that's a flaw in me, Khadijah completes. And I hope, and I'm almost confident, I do the same for her, which makes us one. That's the whole opposites attract. What's missing in, why it seems like opposites attract, because what is missing in me, she completes. And what is missing in her, I complete. And we become one. That's some key shit. So the act of that is taking in the sexual fluids. You need to know this. All right. In Crowley sex magic, these charged fluids are considered the incarnation of a little magical god, which we read. And man and woman are incomplete images of the divine by themselves. Together, when they come together, they represent the totality of existence. Male, female, positive, negative, active, passive. The male and female union encompasses all possibilities. The male and female union encompasses all possibilities. You don't really have to expand on that. Once you understand that concept, and once you understand the highest frequency of male and female union is love, you can create and manifest anything in this existence. So you want to fight the white man? Guess what? You can fuck him out of existence. You want to save the babies? Guess what? You can fuck that reality into existence. Okay, why don't you think they want you fucking like that? Oh, okay. Let me tell you all this. This is what Bobby Hemmett told me with your advanced, fake-ass occultist asses. See, I want to be clear. I'm talking to the motherfuckers who's on it. I am not trying to convince anybody who's sitting on the fence. Fuck y'all. Sit your monkey ass on the fence. This is something you need to know. You need to come to know. It's not up to me to train your ass. You understand? See, Bobby Hemmett told me this. He said, when he went around the country, he basically introduced Satan to the black race on its occult understanding. He said, motherfuckers ate that shit up like a spoon, with a spoon. They couldn't get enough of Satan. Because you would think, niggas and Satan, that just ain't gonna fly. He said, but when he started showing those Hindu pictures, sexual tantra and orgasm, orgies rather, he said, half the niggas that used to bring him in for lectures stopped. He said, that sexual shit for black folks, who's supposed to be so advanced, is worse than the devil. You understand? So I know this hurts a lot of motherfuckers. I seen all these so-called deep niggas. I seen the sister said, you need to put that menstrual in their mouth. Oh, I can't do that. I can do anything I can't do. Okay, no problem. I'm saying don't do it. But nigga, you need to understand this. I thought you was willing to do anything to save your people. I thought you was down for the cause. Nigga, you need to take a dot of that blood, nigga. Take a dot of that cream pie, nigga. If you down for the people, and I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just saying this is the shit you say. You down and the goddess, you know what I'm saying? What's wrong with the goddess, nigga? And all the rest of that shit. Alright, so Crowley seemed to revere, now understand this now, we must say it. Crowley revered homosexuality and promiscuity or permissive behavior. He also frequently conducted sex magic with prostitutes, and this is in direct opposition to Randolph's idea. Now, so just so you know that, for all of those who can't find love or still got mommy issues or daddy issues, Crowley points out you can fuck prostitutes and even says homosexual acts. I have to put that in there because whether niggas like it or not, this has nothing to do with anything that I even have any goddamn idea about. But there's a lot of homo niggas that are conscious, because they'll email me and ask me is anything spiritually wrong with their homosexuality. Now I know this is repulsive to a lot of guys, you know what I'm saying? And all I have to say is I'll let you work that out on your own watch. But I have to be absolutely honest with spirit. There's nothing in the spirit world that's ever shown me that that's a wrong act. There's everything on earth that showed me that shit is kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing about these elbows that another nigga want to suck. I'm going to tell you that shit right now. Ain't nothing about my ashy ass elbows that you should find attractive. But for whatever reason, there are conscious brothers, and yes, I call them brothers, because what we are is beyond earth. I know that to be a fact. And you are not man nor woman beyond what we truly are. So the brotherhood I see in you, the sisterhood I see in you, is for your divine self. You niggas walking around here with a perm, you won't be coming over for cookouts or nothing like that. But that's my personal preference. You get what I'm saying? And everybody deserves that. But I will say, for the level of science, and I have to go through this, Crowley believe homosexual acts, you can do that. So y'all do whatever y'all do. Have at it. And Crowley also used masturbation in his sexual acts. Now, I know that can work as well, because it is not the most powerful, I do not think. It's more powerful a woman's masturbating than a guy. There's not a porno, there's a few girls who's like, could you jerk off for me? I'm like, no, with guys, you just look stupid. Women, when they masturbate, they look sexy, they doing all of this shit. Guys are just doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not sexy, you know what I'm saying, to do that in front of a girl. The girls say, jerk it for me. I'm like, nah, you go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave that alone. But women, when they masturbate, it looks sexy. So now Bobby Hemmett told the story, Brother Bobby. Now I also know this. Bobby Hemmett, this is a brother that put down a lot of work for us, clearly, hands down. And all that shit you new people are seeing on YouTube, that's maybe a quarter of his full work. He's been, you haven't even touched the surface of all the tapes he really has. You know what I'm saying? At his house, he finally got his collection, and it's over 1,000 tapes. You understand what I'm saying? Brother Phil as well. So someone who's put down this much work for us, even though you're giving him later, he may blend into you with everybody else, but this is one of the masters of this lecture circuit. And we have done an excellent job at taking care of him. One that was unrivaled by any other situation in the black community for taking care of Bobby with his love fund. Now, but it goes on. If you gave $20, I'm sure you're able to afford another $20. I mean, as him being my brother, I understand and real humble that if somebody gave $1, but I would say make a second round, give it again, because he needs it. He's not balling off of this. Understand this. His stroke came not from his diet, because he ate much even healthier than I did, if you really want to know. He talked a lot of shit, but he talked that shit because he was trying to tell you in a long about way not to get stuck on your diet as a form of spirituality, you dummy. He was trying to tell you, don't get locked into another fucking diet religion, you silly ass. See, motherfuckers do that when they don't have any true spiritual outlet, so they create things that they feel good about and call it spirituality. You get what I'm saying? Because they're not making progress. So they have this void of spirituality, and then physical things become spirituality. I was on the beach and I'm spiritual now. You get what I'm saying? I went to Egypt and now I'm spiritual. You get what I'm saying? I stopped eating fucking liver and now I'm spiritual. No, you feel better. And because you don't know what true spirituality is, or don't have a methodology or access to it, you can start creating changes that are physical and calling it spiritual as divine. Are they spiritual? Yeah, you could say, because everything is spiritual at its core. Is it the spirituality of occultism or spirituality of alchemical transformation? No, dummy, it is not. It is not. To do that, you're going to have to do some work, and you're going to have to deal with your mind. And it has all of these things like food and echinacea and spirulina will help you on your process. And you should be dealing with your diet based upon how you eat eggs and it fucks you up. Then you should not eat eggs. You should not eat eggs just because everyone tells you not to eat motherfucking eggs. If they give you a good reason not to eat it and you feel like it, go for it. But do not think this is alchemy. Do not think it's science. So Bobby's stroke came from motherfucking stress, which is the #1 cause of stroke. Not what he was eating. He was eating fucking nice. He was a vegetarian for more years than you niggas been conscious. And he went back to it because it was fucking sticking him there. And I've seen it sticking there. He's talking about how it stuck his brother there. He talked about how his brother ate ketchup off the floor. Now this nigga eat anything and becomes sick. If he breathes wrong, he becomes sick because he has regulated in his mind the importance of diet and nothing else. And if that works for him, excellent. No judgment. But we're not going to fucking masquerade like you a spiritual motherfucker because you don't eat fucking, because you eat more lettuce than the next motherfucker. No, you are advanced based upon your lettuce eating. But that does not, and this has nothing to do with the occult. I can show you in 1,000 occult ways in the contact spirituality, including what I'm talking about now with Crowley, that the other side of the coin is how you get in the spirit shit. The worse shit you eat, the more spiritual you become. I can show you that shit all day. So you need to stop masquerading around trying to fucking get attention on YouTube and all the rest of that shit. And they on Blog Talk. That shit is silly. Bobby had a stroke based upon stress levels. And the type of stroke he had, your corny ass fucking vegetarian ass would have been dead if you would have had it. And believe you me, you couldn't have it. Because I ain't yet to see the 100-year-old vegetarian. Show me the 100-year-old vegetarian with your deep ass. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying don't make it your fucking religion. Not saying it's wrong. Don't make it your religion. To be absolutely clear. And Bobby's recovery is based upon spiritual power, spiritual will. Because y'all forgetting. You talking to a nigga who's not scared to go, to leave this planet. So if he's going through it, that's a spiritual reason for it, even if you don't understand. Because all you understand is about walking around this motherfucker and saying Hotep. You get what I'm saying? So if you don't understand it, I understand it. I have faith in our spirituality as something he needed to go to or made a choice to go through. You get what I'm saying? And I go through what I go through based upon my choice. You get what I'm saying? I run this. You know what I'm saying? And so does he. So just so you know, on my site, occultlectures.com, for those of y'all who have been supporting Bobby instead of trying to get wreck off his name, for those of you trying to support him, you can go to my site. There's a link to his donation page. Like I said, it doesn't have to be much. If you have $5 or whatever, that works. All of that works. It's totally legit. Bobby is seeing the money. Linda is handling the money. And the sister Sandra, Mama Congo, is being the online contact. And they get every single penny of what you guys donate and have been. Because what has been working for is Bobby's therapy. And we're at a point now where he's starting to walk again. He talks regular now. His mind is 100%. And I went to the hospital and seen when he had the stroke. I didn't think he was coming out of that. His brain and head was all swelled up. It was aneurysm and all sorts of shit going on. He bounced back almost 100%. That last thing is him walking freely. And I think he's at a point where he's beginning to stand. But in therapy, he's taking steps now, which is the last thing. He'll be walking with a cane in no time. Thanks to the people who he has trained and raised up. This shit has worked well. I am proud of people for that. So people often ask me, they don't know if the donation page is legit. They don't want to get had. Understood. Come to my website. That's the donation page. Linked in go into the About Panic area. You'll see Bobby Hemmett's. First of all, you'll see all. I have Bobby Hemmett quotes up there. A bunch of people did a whole bunch of Bobby Hemmett quotes, about 4 or 5 pages long. You'll get a kick out of that, and you'll also be able to see his donation page. That's occultlectures.com. And of course, now my site is up and running, occultlectures.com. It's the same name as this YouTube channel, occultlectures.com. You can go there, you can buy my herb packs directly, my classes directly. My classes are going to start soon. You can just pay for it, or a payment price. You can do all of that there. You need to support the same way, because giving this information is hard. A lot of, it's hours of information. It's hard to study this just to be able to give you something that you can use, that you can access. And so all I ask for is you actually support in that context, and even in your support, you still get something back. It's not even a donation page. It's a page where you get tools that even help you advance further in your work. So all that support black business. Well, here's one. And like I said, I've been doing this for 5-6 years now. Much happy customers. I have a testimonial page, so you can see testimonials to the class and the product. So this shit has been working, will work, continue to work, and you need to get it to work for you. That's occultlectures.com. Same name as this channel on YouTube. Pass this information around, pass this to people who you know are on it. The more who get this message, the more we start getting into some real practices, the more you will see things change in your personal life. And the more we personally do this, the more we can inspire change on a bigger scale, which is what you've been itching for anyway. I'm from the path of magic. I am from the path of what my ancestors dealt with. This is not some side shit that we making up and trying. This is some shit we maintained the world with until we decided to go to sleep. Now we in the wake up phase, and here's what we did to maintain the world, and here's what we need to do to take control of it, and actually eventually to go beyond it, which is what we're trying to do. Well, which is what y'all trying to do. I'm beyond this, and I say that with no ego. I'm beyond this, and that's based upon work, and I'm trying to get you to go into that same work. All right. Orgasm should be simultaneous with your partner if possible, indicating the singularity of the act. At the moment of orgasm, through continuous mind, through conscious mind, and is lost in ecstasy, will be entirely focused on during this operation. So basically saying, do not lose yourself in ecstasy. Do not lose yourself in ecstasy. You are no longer busting your nut out of lust. You're busting your nut with intention. So when you are in this state of orgasm, that's when your focus needs to be strong. That's when your focus needs to maintain. That may take a little practice for certain niggas. The sexual fluids are gathered. A portion of them can be placed on a talisman or on the magical link if you're using either or both. The practitioner must consume by placing the fluids under the tongue to be absorbed directly into the membrane. All right. So basically, Crowley and Randolph are basically saying the same end game. Your orgasm is a prayer. Your sexual act is a prayer, and your orgasm is completion, and the focus must happen during the orgasm. Simultaneous orgasm, and so on and so forth. Where Crowley differs is who you can have sex with to perform this act, and even having sex alone, and he's big on intaking the fluids, the Eucharist. Like I said, now Randolph, he probably was on that shit, but he was more polished in terms of who he was presenting this information to. He was more important because he was bringing this information to the world in the West at the time. So you couldn't say certain things based upon, you would scare more people than you would enlighten more people at that time. So after Randolph and Blavatsky and whomever else, Crowley was in a position to take that to the next level in terms of being more crass. So Crowley wasn't deeper or doing anything deeper. He was just doing what Randolph and them at the time couldn't present to the world, but probably was doing anyway. My guess is they were. Now, so Randolph promoted love in the sexual act, healthy eating, yoga, and so on and so forth. Crowley's like, get your fuck on, nothing manifests, basically. Now, since Crowley didn't outwardly, in his published writing, talk about sex magic, we had to decode it, and I gave you all the code words, and he has been decoded. But at the time, there was a guy named Lewis Culling, and he broke the silence or the seal on some of the shit in the OTO, which he was frowned upon for basically giving out their secrets. Now, he was the first person to publish sex magic teachings based on Aleister Crowley. So while Aleister Crowley was decoded and people finally got that message, this guy said, fuck it, I'm just going to drop what they do in the OTO on you, which was taboo then, because they take this oath that your immortal soul will burn if you give any secrets. So do the Masons. Okay, but he had another group called the GBG. I don't know what that shit stood for. But it was the chromosome club or like a club dealing with Saturn accidents. I don't know what you probably can find. I'm sure you can find out what it is. But the GBG, I don't know what the OTO stands for, but it's Crowley's group. All these fucking organizations. They modified Crowley's work to suit their own needs. There was no element of masturbation in the GBG or any teachings regarding homosexuality. So Crowley basically was a homo, and niggas ain't co-signed with a lot of that shit anyway. But he also had a few techniques of getting in the same way Randolph had. His first technique was alphaism. Alphaism is the name given to magical chastity. You practice magical chastity by simply forcing yourself to have no sexual thoughts, feelings, or fantasy except in relationship to sex magic, or when specifically engaged in sex magic. In other words, you don't think or act sexually unless your partner directly performs an act of sex magic. So basically, his first step is saying you must now make a vow of chastity. But it's not chastity like you don't have sex. You no longer have any sex unless it's sex magic. You no longer think lustfully or think sexually unless it's about sex magic. See a fat ass? You need to be thinking about sex magic, not just banging that over, then going home and doing sex magic. So you need to create you need to start conditioning your mind for magical sexual chastity. And that's called alphaism. His next step is called Dianism, or Dianism, Dianism. Before engaging in the sexual practice of Dianism, you are expected to be the observer of alphaism. So you've got to be in this magical chastity first. The specific practice of Dianism is basically just sexual intercourse without orgasm. So here's where he incorporates you now. Once you are created this or made this commitment of magical chastity, and his leans towards you need a lover, or you need someone you're in love with, or someone you definitely respect. This gets you out of the prostitute thing that Crowley was saying. It's closer to Randolph's theory. And once you create this magical chastity, that everything you do is about sex magic, not just about we're going to have recreational sex and then we're going to have sex magic. Everything is sex magic. You have to start doing the Taoist practice of retaining the orgasm. So, which is cuts off what Randolph's poseism. Randolph's poseism was about disciplining the body in certain poses that he defines, so you can control the orgasm. In the GBG, the GBG's second rule of Dianism is having sex without orgasm, which is another way of controlling the orgasm, the same way of Randolph's poseism. You see, they always stealing from us and making it, calling it some new shit, but it's really, they getting this shit from Randolph. They just switched it up and act like it's theirs. In Dainism, you need to regard your partner as a god or a goddess, the physical manifestation of the holy guardian. I'm going to tell you about the holy guardian. You avoid thinking of the earthly personality of your partner at all, making him or her just as the anonymous avatar of a divine lover. So that's also Randolph, because Randolph told you in the fourth practice, let me see if I could find that real quick. In his fourth practice, which was called Tiracularism, 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 he told you about the flaming star technique, where you become a god and she becomes your consort. That's what he's saying here. When you visualize your partner as a god or a goddess, a physical manifestation of the holy guardian angel. White people need the holy guardian angel. The holy guardian angel for us, or the real holy guardian angel, is called your Ka in Kemetic understanding, which is really your spirit double or your melanin. So you or what they call a doppelganger. Doppelganger now, they humanized it and said that every person has a twin on planet Earth somewhere around the planet, and that's their doppelganger. Well, the real occult meaning of doppelganger is what they call your spirit double or your Ka. So you're actually calling on your holy guardian angel, which is your Ka or your melanin. You avoid thinking of the earthly personality. So I think of remember, with your lover, with Khadijah, we do a lot of earth shit. We got to go to Walmart, pay the gas bill. We had a fucking leak in our yard. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody doing no meditation. We had to get a nigga to get a shovel and change that motherfucking tube in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So we do a lot of earthly shit. The idea is I don't want to see Khadijah based upon my magical chastity and everything is sex magic as that human when we're in our sexual congress. So the earthly personality of your partner, making him or her just an anonymous avatar of your divine lover. Some of my most work was with a sister. I don't want to say her name, blow her up. Her nickname was Shu, but y'all won't know that. But she was a girlfriend for about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. And, she was on it, she was conscious, and she was an empath. So any goddess, I was able to get through her. And believe you me, that's where I got most of my power and my work from, dealing with her through the sexual alchemy. You know what I'm saying? And also another aspect of sexual alchemy is sex with spirits. Here's a book that you guys need to get called Sexual Alchemy. I know it's backwards, but by Donald Tyson. Sexual Alchemy by Donald Tyson. Magical Intercourse with Spirits. This book was given to me by a brother named Darren or Darryl. Of course, I couldn't find it at the time because it was out of print. I think it's back in print. But he goes through a whole bunch of shit in here. I think you can get it. Anything by Donald Tyson, as I tell people in my class, is a must. So he goes sex, magic, and religion, the great mother goddess, Tantra, and Tao, sex in Western alchemy, magical uses for sexual fluids. Here you go again. Salt, sulfur, and mercury, god making, how to make gods, which is another way of making the sexual fluids or a thought form, which is your intentions, which is what you're doing, into a god. Choosing a lover, imagining the shrine, observations, preparations, breathing and contemplations, cleansing, consecrations, methods of protection, middle pillar exercise, rituals of invocation, the psychology of spirit sex. I had a lot of fucking spirit sex. I fucked a lot of motherfucking hoes in the astral world, nigga. Yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And you could do it too. the feeling of that is, when you have sex, besides the orgasm, the physical orgasm, there's a certain comfort, a certain healing, a certain calm that you feel when you getting some pussy. You feel all of that once you have divine sex. And you also feel enlightened from the union. You know what I'm saying? Phyllis Hyman gave me something, and that's, ooh, Lord, 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 Lord. She took me in past life experience. You know what I'm saying? Hitting that shit in the spirit world, Froggy style. And Phyllis Hyman, a fine motherfucker. And then, like, Bobby was like, shit, nigga, I can't believe Phyllis Hyman gave you some pussy. You know what I'm saying? As much as he liked her. And then I said, okay, because Phyllis Hyman was real strong with me. If you a tall bitch, you must deal with Phyllis Hyman. That's right, Visa. You need to deal with fucking Phyllis Hyman. Any tall hole got to deal with Phyllis Hyman. And powerful. She was in Sophisticated Ladies, which is Sophia, which is the great mother. She did a album called something with the goddess. This motherfucker was a goddess, I'm gonna tell you. And it was weird. I seen her in real life one time doing music. She was coming out of some office, some meeting, and it was like, oh, Phyllis Hyman. And I wasn't into her music. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that was weird. When your eyes just meet somebody, and it's weird. Then you look at her pictures. That is the finest, one of the finest, besides Khadijah now, one of the finest women that ever walked this goddamn planet. That is a goddess. I'm going to tell you, one of the most powerful motherfuckers you can get with. The piece de Sophia is the great mother in the goddess shit. So the piece de Sophia is married to what they call in Gnosticism the logos, or the word. The word of God is the goddess. That's their union. So I did rituals to become the word. Went under the Phyllis Hyman music, was dealing with her, and was dealing with Om. Just got into Om meditation. Phyllis Hyman came through. And it was powerful because at that point in my occult life, these random gods, goddesses, and ancestors would come to me at random. So Phyllis Hyman was the first one. I said, well, now I'm going to try to go get her. You get what I'm saying? So all I did was all day was Phyllis Hyman online, looked at her pictures, read her stories, backstories, listened to her music, said I'm going to try to get into her. Sure enough, she came through, giving me some Froggy style, nigga. And with a whole lot of information, she showed me a past life in Chem, where me and Bobby were connected. Every single person of worth, I was able to see them. I don't want to say person of worth in my life, let's just say that. Aline, Dawood, Brother Phil, she showed Dr. Clark, she showed me exactly what they were doing in Chem, and shit was amazing. It's basically the same shit, my boy Tef, me and Bobby in the priesthood. Shit was amazing, near the Aswan Dam or something like that. That's where we was. And she showed me when we started getting information that we would become what we are now on Earth. How fucked up we are, basically. She showed me when me, Bobby, and a host load of other people who were conscious got the channels and the information that we will become African Americans, the shit you got going on now. And that damn near 70% of the niggas left. Said, okay, good luck. And then the rest of us who are here now, conscious, said, we're going to stay, instead of regenerating, we're going to go into the circles of reincarnating. So then, and we knew the dangers of reincarnating because you're born with that brain, or the brain starts to activate, where the ego and the conscious mind becomes more swole than the subconscious mind, which we had more access to back then. So we knew the heads would be smaller, and the pineal would shrink, and we would become human. And through that humanity, we did a lot during the course of lifetimes to retain, so we could be born conscious. Only the most powerful can do it. We started getting training to know how to come through the birth like everybody else and still retain our consciousness as you see today, as some of the teachers you've seen today. So, and there was a lot more to it, but This is dealing with Phyllis Hyman. Sexual alchemy with spirits. You must get into this, I say. You must, because the sky's the limit. I got some real pussy with Tammy Terrell, all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? All them fine hoes you used to see from the 60s, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that peculiar? You know what I'm saying? Tammy Terrell. Boy, I used to love Tammy Terrell. She came through and told me why. I was like, oh yeah. Get your, you know what I'm saying? And you feel, now I can't do it no more. Khadijah done took the alchemy right out my ass. You know what I'm saying? This shit, I'm in sexual chastity with her. You know what I'm saying? Sexual chastity. You know what I'm saying? I eat, sleep, and drink Khadijah. Hell yeah, I get it. Bob used to say that. I was like, oh, look at this whipped ass nigga. But it's not even about being whipped. It's actually finding the other side of yourself. See, we don't go through that pimps and hoes bullshit in this house. You understand? You need to understand when you really find a soulmate, not the concept of a soulmate. When you really find the other side of yourself, where I see clearly that me and her went through motherfucking lifetimes. This ain't the first lifetime. Clearly, not my guess and how I feel on the matter. No, clearly, she sees it too. In fact, she's seen a tape of mine. And the first time she ever seen the tape, she said, I'll be with that guy. Not on some, I love that guy. She just knew that we would be together. I'd be like, God damn. And, you know, I've told this story before. When I was young, and I'll make it real quick. When I was young, I used to always see this woman come in my bed. And I used to tell my mother, this is this woman that gets in my bed. She be laying with me, humping me, kissing me, blah, blah, blah. Mother's like, you're having a wet dream. And I'm like, ain't nothing in this motherfucker wet. You know what I'm saying? Who is this woman? So by the time I was about 8 or 9, she started to go away. And then, but I always remember this image of this woman in my face. And during the years, I see a woman with her eyes, a woman with her nose, a woman with her lips. I always had I never really had aspirations for meeting this woman. Khadijah emailed me actually on my birthday, after my herb pack and saying happy birthday on Facebook. I seen her face and said, oh shit, she looks familiar. Then I felt compelled to take it to a next level with this woman. She didn't even have a picture of her. I felt compelled. So I started finding out a picture, like, oh, she's fine. Then she sent the full body shot. She didn't just send that head look, and then, you know what I'm saying, you see the body, it should be like this. Send the full body. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's, let me get on my A game. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, I came to visit her, we talked, met, and then I remember we were in a movie theater, and I remember the movie, we was watching Salt. I looked at her, and you know, it was dark, and then I started to see that damn woman that used to come in my bed. I was stunned. And I kept looking because I'm sitting there like, this can't be true, because I hadn't thought about that in that context for years. And the more I seen her, I didn't even tell her yet. I started to see that's the woman that used to come in my bed. So I knew, I said, either she's going to kill me, I was visiting my death, I'm going to be with her forever. Sure enough, the story be told, you already know what it is, she killed me. So anyway, all of that to say, I mean, if that's not enough for you, I could go on for days. Visions. My boy King Cook, he used to have these visions. We couldn't figure out. Well, I couldn't figure out why I had a connection to him, because you know everybody emails and plays with me all the time. And Brother Pan, I had a connection to him, and I can't remember. He was telling me something about a vision, because there's another vision I had all my life. I cannot stand jazz music. It depresses the shit out of me. I'll look at Spirit came and told me to listen to jazz. I've downloaded a lot of jazz, listened to shit. Damn, I was walking in the street crying with an iPod. But it turned out Ella Fitzgerald came through, and Louis Armstrong, and it was a whole thing with that. Now, Ella showed me a flaming vagina the entire night with colors I've never seen. That's a bad bitch. If you want to deal with Pallades, in the Palladian energy, get with Ella Fitzgerald. And I didn't know at the time Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong had a lot of records together. I didn't realize they had a union until after the fact. They both came through and gave me new names, which I'm not going to give you niggas. And anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? That often happens. I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about. I know y'all gonna be mad because it was some good shit. I don't remember what the fuck was I just talking about. After Ella and them, there's usually some of my class who are, well, you were saying that, Panic, but there's nobody here, so you just ass out. You have to get it the next time. So I can't stand when that shit happens. Fuck them. Okay, so like alphaism, Dianism is not necessarily considered an end in itself, but lead to the practices of the third degree. The only end sought in Dianism is a deep, profound connection with the holy guardian angel or the melanin, or also the poses or the ability to control the orgasm. So that's step 2. The step 3 is the Kodash. Qodosh. It's essentially the same as Dianism in practice, except that at the end of an extremely prolonged lovemaking, you release your orgasm. So basically, in the second, you are building up your orgasm, and in the third, you are having that orgasm, and with the purpose to connect more fully with the holy guardian angel, or hence the true will, or basically your own spirit, because his idea is that the spirit is everything. See, but if you see with them, I would see why they would have to say the holy guardian angel, because if they do exist, they have to have something in the astral world that is guiding them. Really, is just another nigga, a Yakub, their father Yakub, perhaps. With black people, we are more advanced. Therefore, we are our higher selves. We are our holy guardian angel. You hear that bitch, that dummy, Sylvia, always talking about connecting with your holy guardian angel or connecting with the guardian angel. They would need something to protect them outside of them, in hopes that if they live whatever kind of life, that it would protect them. For us, we're advanced. Our holy guardian angel is melanin, is our spirit double. So, which is our true will. You understand? Your true self or your true spirit. So, connecting with the melanin will put you in alignment with what it is you need. So, another way of doing it is saying, I became Shiva and I fucked Parvati and we did all of that. All the contacting all the various spirits, but all those various spirits are only definitions of you. So therefore, you can cut to the chase, and if you can conceptualize, it's easier for us to do it as Shiva, because Shiva has so many definitions, image, personality, colors, days of the week, so you can see yourself as that. It's really hard to see yourself as your melanin. You get what I'm saying? Because your melanin is so complex. In fact, all of these spirits or energies are only definitions of your melanin, of melanated people. You get what I'm saying? So they always have to get something outside themselves, a holy guardian angel, because when you say angels, it sounds like it's something that protects you. But when you get past angels, it's nothing but angles of light, and melanin is an angle of light. All right? So basically, they're saying you in the second practice, in the first one, you create a magical chastity. Basically, you're building up energy. The second one, you take it to the next level. You fuck without orgasm as a way of controlling your orgasm. And then the third, you get to a point where you start releasing your orgasm to connect with the Holy Spirit. And so the Kodash became the magical technology of the GBG. So they was building up to the orgasm, and that was the technology. Their whole technology is the orgasm. You need to understand that. That's how important it is for the orgasm. Just as in Crowley's system, the charged sexual fluids are considered an elixir of the Eucharist, eaten at the end of the rite on the talisman, or put on the talisman of some sort. So they would also eat the Eucharist as well. All right, to invoke a desired human quality or characteristic, trait like wisdom, love, imagination, beauty, both Participants simply think about that desired quality, then eat the combined sexual fluids. To attain some um, desired end through a letter by putting the sexual fluids on that letter, preferably with some sort of seal or sigil smeared on it, and then sending that letter to the party involved. So basically, if you need to get at somebody else or whatever, or get another party involved in your intention, you can create a sigil. I teach how to create sigils in my class. You lazy niggas, stop getting this for free and come on, take that class. Well, we do 4 weeks of class. You know, we're doing via Skype. Anybody around the world can take it. You in America, you in Atlanta, you can come over to the house if you look not creepy. But you can take a sigil, which I teach you how to create, teach you the science of the sigil, put the sexual fluids on that sigil, and get it in that person's presence. So if it's a co-worker, put it on their desk. They don't know where the fuck it came from. Let them pick it up, see it, touch it. Job well done. If it's a friendly that you can communicate with for whatever reason, and you have to write a letter, write your letter, your business letter, your resume, sexual fluids on it. And in fact, that's the best one to do for you human niggas. You put the sexual fluids on your resume with an intention. Maybe you become an excellent slave. All right, so become a magician before you need to become a magician before you can be a sex magician. You need to become a magician before you can be a sex magician. Let me say that again. You need to become a magician before you can be a sex magician. So you ain't gonna just be coming off the bench pulling out dick and thinking you tapping in, because you need to understand the entire concept. Yes, I must say it again. I teach you this in my class. That's what I do. That's what you should be doing. Come and take this magical class. Learn the foundation and the basics of magic and becoming a magician, then the world is yours. We can get into this sex magic shit. All right? Or you can, and you can manifest. And I'm only telling you things that work. I need you to understand this clearly. I don't give out theories. I don't give out shit that they were doing in Egypt before. I'm telling you shit that I have done and am doing and works, nigga. I wish I could take y'all on a tour around this motherfucker so y'all can see the fruits of magical labor. But here's the good news. I'm showing you how to do anything I can do. I do not feel better than you. I feel equal to you. And I feel, if I feel better than you, it's only because of your laziness that I am. Once you get rid of that laziness, get into this technique, we are the same if you are not greater. You understand what I'm saying? We all have the same shit inside of us. This is meant for us. And the ones who are hearing it is specifically meant for you. But anybody has the ability, when they so choose, to become that. They can become whatever. I'm telling you shit that works. Y'all telling me theories that we should do as a people. I'm telling you shit that you can access. And any naysayer is niggas who ain't doing shit. Do it and do it, and when it works for you, then let me hear your conversation. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So you must become a magician before you become a sex magician in your prerequisite abilities. The ability you need as a magician, the ability to focus and control and direct your mind. Something I teach you in my class. The ability to enter a magical state. And I'm going to show you how to enter a magical state. And once you understand the practice of entering a magical state, which is basically alpha mode, which is another thing I teach in my class, because you're going to find you need to go into this magical state before any sex practice. Very important. The next thing, the ability to visualize. Visualization is 99.9% of everything you do in magic. I'm sorry to disappoint you that it's not more profound, that it's not more scientific, but visualization, if you can see. In fact, for you pro-African niggas, why do you think that they told stories, that our tradition is handed down through story? Because when I tell you a story, you're able to see it in your mind the way you need to see it. So if I tell you about the bottle that's sitting on the table, you have to think of the bottle, you have to think of the table, which allows you to bring symbols into your mind to communicate with your own subconscious mind. You understand what I'm saying? So if I say a Pepsi bottle, everybody knows what that is. I directed you to an image. If I say an image that's more abstract, like if I'm fucking somebody, you know what a pussy looks like. But if I told you I fucked goddamn Jane Kennedy, and all you OGs know that was a thing to do, you would have to visualize this shit. You get what I'm saying? You would have to visualize this shit. And your visualization of my story makes it real for you. You understand what I'm saying? And in that same concept was how you created your reality as a man thinketh. And what you think is nothing but symbols and visualization. You don't think of words, you say words. But you think of pictures. And then you express them in words. So your thinking is nothing but visualization. Everything you do. You don't think, when you think about going to Walmart, you think about you being at Walmart, and you think of the Walmart that's just your destination. You don't think the words, I must go to Walmart. Visualization is everything we are. Everything you do, and is that the foundation of your power. So when you hear this statement, they can do anything to me, but they can't destroy what's in my mind, they're talking about the pictures that you create. So visualization is 99.9 in the foundation of your magic. And that's what all the other practices of looking at the paper with the black speck on it is about, trying to harness and get you focused on the power of your visualization and the discipline to hold a visual image in your mind for an amount of time. The ability to travel on the inner planes of body and light. Astral traveling, basically know how to look within and basically see yourself at certain locations. That's basically astral traveling or soul traveling. Yet again, another practice I teach in my class, because I teach you how to be a magician. You need to know this. You need to know how to do this, and the ability to do it at will. The ability to conduct a ritual, practices, and gestures. Basically, how and what you're doing when you light a candle, fuck with a crystal, blah, 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 blah. Now, let me tell you a method for entering a magical trance. Go to a place where you won't be disturbed for at least half an hour. Sit in a comfortable position, allow yourself to relax, meaning you don't have to sit in lotus position. Lotus position was the idea of crossing your legs to lock the energy, ground yourself. You create the number 6 when you do this. That's the number 6, the number of man. So you become awareness in man. You know what I mean? That's when you're just trying to balance yourself as a human. You're not doing so. You're pulling the energy, locking it in the root chakra. You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Sit in a comfortable position, and you need a half an hour to do this. Okay, take 3 or 4 deep breaths. Allow your body to relax deeply with each exhalation. Then turn your breathing back into your subconscious. Meaning, you don't need to be aware of your breathing anymore. When they say turn it back into your subconscious, I've been breathing this whole time like you have while you're watching it, and you never have once thought about your breath. Why? Because your subconscious is taking it. When you take your deep breath and do all of this and hold it for 3, you're turning your breath into your consciousness, which is a different act. You're first making yourself aware, and that different act is very valuable. Brother Lean goes very hard on the science of breathing. There are books on the science of breathing, so you need to understand that for its understanding and what it can do for you. We're not talking about that here. We're talking about being conscious of your breath for the purpose of changing your mind state and relaxation. Then you turn it back over to your subconscious, meaning you forget about breathing. You don't sit there and count. Begin to observe your body sensation, focus on your feet. What sensations do you feel? Are they tense? Allow your body to relax, moving up and down. This is one, drop your head, fairly good to read, inward focus. This is a technique of meditation you'll find that most people go through. And basically, with your eyes closed, I tell you, you need to look with your eyes at the top of your head, which creates a triangle or pyramid or that all-seeing eye that people are scared to look at on the dollar bill when it's your symbol. When you look at that, you activate your pineal. You start to activate your pineal. Another good meditation is humming, just so you know that. You don't have to do it to get into magical trance. Some of you can do it. But this technique to get into magical trance is while you focus in on your feet. How do they feel? Are they comfortable? Are they tingling, like they said? Are they warm? Are they cold? Are they relaxed? And then you shoot your thoughts to make them relax. Then you move up to your calves and your knees. How do they feel? Are they comfortable? Should they be flat? Same thing. Then you focus, make them relax. Keep moving up forms of your body. Keep relaxing more and more until your head, when you get up to your head, the last point of your head it nods. You are totally aware of all parts of your body now. You are now in a magical state of relaxation because you work the energy all over your body. People, how does that work? How does that don't work? That don't seem that. Well, what Brother Lean dropped, which would set it right to the point that energy follows your thought. So that's why your thoughts and visualizations are very important, because as a man thinketh, remember that good shit for you, all you niggas who believe the Bible is real. And sadly enough, there's a few niggas who still do. You are sending with your thoughts relaxation to each part of your body. You're becoming aware of your total being, your total physical being. So now, after you drop that head, in terms of your entire body is relaxed, begin to focus on the area directly above your head, your crown chakra. Imagine a globe of white light a short distance above that head, the size of a grapefruit. This is the light of your superconscious mind. And this light is your personal Ketha in the Kabbalistic crown, or the Shoshana, the crown chakra, the 1,000-petal lotus. Your visualization of this light need not be perfect, just pretend that you're doing it right. So, because that's where people start to get logical again. When they start, well, am I doing the light right? Is it the right size? Is it the right feeling? See, that's where most people get thrown off at meditating, thinking they're not doing it right. You need to get over that. How it comes to you is right. So they'll tell you in the code, fake it till you make it. You'll find that in Peter Carroll's books, Leave It Known, The Psychonaut, or Leave It Chaos. One of them is another one of the famous occult statements. Fake it till you make it. In fact, I seen motherfucking Kevin Hart say that shit. Fake it till you make it. So that's the hot shit now. And fake it till you make it is basically saying you need to see it in your mind until it becomes a reality. You know what I'm saying? Not act fake, but pretend that you are that. They tell you that all the time. They tell you that in self-help books. You want to get a new car, see yourself with the car gloves, the car pictures, the red car posters, buy a Ferrari jacket, and boom, you're on your way to get before hang with Ferrari people. They tell you basically that's laws of attraction and magnetism. Alright, which is a simple concept. So fake it till you make it, or pretend you're doing it right, is what they're saying. And if you pretend you're doing it right, it gets the thinking process out the way. Because the last thing you want to do in these modes is start thinking. That's what's fucking you up. And that's also called chatter. And that chatter, that's what one of the main things the herb pack does. It gets rid of the chatter in your mind. You can go to my website and see testimonials of people telling you how the chatter is gone once they started the herb pack, and all the happiness and breakthroughs they had smoking my herbs. And if you don't know by now, let me say it, get it out the way. I sell organic herbs for your pineal gland. It will open up your third eye, hands down. This has been going on for 5 to 6 years of successful stories of black people. I have plenty of repeat customers. So this is not about a cheap sales pitch, because really this product is so popular with me, so popular that I really don't need to even mention it again. It is now sells on its own volition. But more importantly than my sales, which I use to pay my rent and keep bringing you this information, more importantly than that, it does work and it helps people. And it will help you. And my interest here is to raise up and help black people spiritually. I do not want to help you physically. I want to help you have spiritual realization. And the good news is I'm quite successful at this task. One of my major breakthrough success is this herb pack. It is organic. in every sense of the way. No drugs, no psychotropic-inducing hallucinogens in this product. No need for it. All natural. Every single item in the herb pack you can eat on the dinner table. It is organic. The best way to intake it is to smoke it. The second best way, which seems to work a lot from people who are not smokers, is you can make it as a tea. You take a little bit, make it as a tea. You get a big fat sack of it. You can just go directly to my website. It is, and I charge and still charge you a very modest price for something that will change your life. You need to get this herb pack, this panic pack. Very cheap. Go to my site, you can get it. And it will activate your third eye. And the laundry list of things that it has done for people. Ask around, player. Ask around. Help people stop smoking. Help people get off of drugs. Help people enhance their drugs. Whatever it is, your magical intention, people start to realize because we have different agendas, different reasons we came down here. Mostly blocked by our spiritual communication center. So we still all walking around here trying to unify as humans on some we shall overcome shit. But when you clear away that fog, that calcification layer on that pineal by using my herbs, your magical intentions start to become clearer to you. This has worked for many. Maybe one or two motherfuckers said, it's not doing nothing. I said, well, then you need to go to the drawing board. You get what I'm saying? Because how can it not work when you have a fucking pineal gland? It works. You know what I'm saying? This shit works. So you niggas need to get with some shit that works. If you niggas are doers, get into some shit that instead of fucking philosophizing on Facebook, go ahead and do some practices, nigga. I'm into hands-on practices, nigga. So get you a herb pack. I cannot say that. And there's plenty, and I have plenty of other herbs for plenty of other things. For money, love, lust. In fact, if you're having problems with your love, you may want to get a love pack, then eventually get into the sexual magic. Now I got plenty of oils for this, plenty of spiritual baths, you name it. I have a shitload of magical products. Cleanliness, let me say this while we're here. You want to get something called Florida water. That's what it looks like. You've probably seen this in stores for years. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to hold it up, because each time I mention it, what is Florida water? This is it. This is that dirty shit your father used to use. I know it looks backwards, but you can see what it looks like. And I got it at a grocery store out here at Food Depot. So they usually have them at CVS, Walmart. You may have to look around, but you can find this. You know what I'm saying? It's called Florida water. What I do is put it in something like this, a mister. Shoot this mist. Let me see if you can see that mist. Before you go out, you know what I'm saying? Florida water is known for cleaning your spirit. It's well known in magic or magical practices as the substance for purifying the area. So we put it in the mist. We also spray down our altars and statues with it, the room with it, you name it. It becomes an all-purpose spray. You know what I'm saying? To anoint and purify the room, Florida water. If you can't find Florida water, use salt water. The better the salt, the Celtic salt or the Himalayan sea salt. You can get Himalayan sea salt from Walmart and any health food store. They have it in the grinder. You know what I mean? So you can get Himalayan sea salt pretty much. I'm trying to give you shit you can get in your house. You can do it with, or worst case, kosher salt. I'm sure you can get damn sea salt now. You know what I'm saying? In some water, shake it up, give it a spray. Crown chakra, throat, knees, chest, back of the neck too. Or, pour it in, do your business. For cleaning, and it's a good thing to have for to clean the room. You could also do the sage and the frankincense and the myrrh. But a real quick way to clean the room before a sexual act, or spray the bed before a sexual act, Florida water or salt water. To clean the system. I came across what you need to do is get, I think I talked about it, the peroxide, I don't remember. I think I did talk about this. Peroxide, food grade peroxide. Yeah, I did talk about it. Treat the water. Add. I don't remember finishing. Add baking soda to that peroxide, and you want to do about a spoonful. The more you do, the more you go and shit and clean out. You'll be shitting for 2 days, but it'll clean your system. Skin will get clear, and it'll start to clean out the body to start to purifying yourself for certain sex magic. So, if depending on how much you do, but drink accordingly. Baking soda, lemon, and peroxide water. Now you can use the regular standard peroxide, but it's truly easy to find what they call food grade peroxide, which is a stronger peroxide. And they'll give you instructions on how to treat your water with it. But people in Khadijah, my aunt, who's been in this shit before, I think this shit was popular, use regular peroxide. They put a couple of drops, I think she said 2 drops to 8 ounces of regular peroxide. But the food grade peroxide gives you instructions. All right, here's another book, just while we're here, get it out the way, called Wicked Voodoo Sex by Kathleen Charlotte. Looks like this. Wicked Voodoo Sex. I know it's backwards. And, she goes into a lot of ritual with sexual things. So y'all can incorporate some voodoo ritual in your sexual practices to take it up to another level, my niggas. All right, so pretend that you're doing it right. Imagine the light shining down on your open head. The light touches your head, fills your body with light, releases at the top of your head, 4 eyes, arms, cheeks, jaws, blah, 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 allowing you the light to relax you and filling you as it moves down, allowing the relaxing light to continue full chest, shoulders, relaxing, blah, 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 all basically going all the way down. So basically, that ball of light that was above you, you have to visualize it going down, but you want to see it hit the pineal, see it hit the nose, see it hit the cheek, see it hit the mouth. You want to visualize in detail that light going throughout the body until it gets to the feet. By the time this is done, you will be in magical trance, basically. And so in the future, as I refer to magical trance, you'll know this is what I'm talking about. You have to, because a lot of these techniques, you have to go into that trance first. And the more you do that, the more you don't need to go through the whole drama of that trance. You have to, because this is how you get past the drama. At the end of doing all of that work, you're going to have a feeling. And that feeling, the more you do the magical trance technique, the more you're going to get into that feeling, and you will remember that feeling. Then you'll get to a level where you can call on that feeling as opposed to the whole technique to get to feel that way. So when you call on that feeling, you'll be able to go bing right into the trance. Like, see, I could go right in and change my mind right now. I'm just that quick. Based upon me knowing how that magical trance is, my whole mood has changed. I can feel I should just get over my back and all of that. Just by closing my eyes, damn near, I can go into magical trance. Real easy. And you'll if you're not already there, you'll get into where you're into that zone. And like even now, even from that little bit, I feel a little bit more relaxed. I feel a little bit more relaxed. All right. So breathing, awareness, and energy is another technique. So sit down somewhere where you can't be disturbed. Go into a magical trance. And like I said, we already discussed how to get that. Observe your breath as it enters the body. Feel the cool sensation, blah, blah, blah. When your lungs are filled, begin to exhale. Consciously visualize the vitality of air surrounding you. As you breathe it in, let it enter your body. As you exhale, imagine the toxins accumulated throughout the day exiting at the point of your body. This is where color magic comes in your breathing. You could breathe in whatever color you see is pure or healing, or for whatever your purpose, based upon chakras, or whatever, blue is healing and light blue is nurturing, and whatever, green is prosperity, pink is love, white is purity, black is power, subconscious power is not evil, red is energy. So you can see, and I used to see them as different colors. For instance, when I do and meditate in the bath, when I'm doing a spiritual bath, I visualize the water in my mind as that color. So whenever you're putting the water, you're drenching yourself in that particular color, whatever your purpose is. Same thing with air, breathing in red for energy. Then you're breathing out the color that you see as bad. I usually visualize like a murky color, sometimes browns and other colors. When I need to see, brown also means home or earth. So when I visualize brown, I visualize a lighter, more cleaner brown, but then a darker, heavier color. I don't want to get into black, because black is negative polarity. Black can be anything, and black is your subconscious intentions. So I don't like to, you hear a lot of visualizations, exhale is black. I don't really do that. You can do that. Don't get caught up as black people and white people. If you do that, you're making the number one mistake in this occultism, and you'll never get anywhere. But you'll hear things about gift of the white stone, the white Horus, the white Ptah, but they're not talking about white people, not by a long shot. When this was created, no white people even existed. The concept didn't even exist. So they're talking about the purity of white as a frequency, as opposed to as a color. Don't be silly. So you can still visualize black, you know what I'm saying, or visualize whatever. You got to be creative as exhale. So that's how you become awareness in your breathing, along with breathing techniques. And you're not doing this to get into the sexual act. You're doing this just to become aware of your breath. So you don't have to do so many techniques, where you can just, as pointed out in the GBG or whatever that was, that you can breathe 4 times, then give it back to the subconscious. Okay. There's plenty of ways to get prana, plenty of ways to get chi energy. All right? But you could put as much energy in your breathing as you want. The concept here in your breathing is more, it adds more visualization to the process, as opposed to pulling off chi off the air. Now, active imagination and visualization. One of the most important skills you need to develop as a magician is the ability to create and sustain images in your mind as realistically as possible. This is the way that all magic is conducted. You do not have to visualize anything perfectly, but you do need a rudimentary visualization skills to conduct any effective magic work. These steps are there's a simple way to develop your inner vision. I'm going to do that exercise. Again, visualization is the foundation of all magic. You know this, we did it as kids. Remember, it's what you just came from that world as a kid, and you retain the way that world operates, which is through your thoughts. Watch the movie yet again, What Dreams May Come, with Robert Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr., because it's the most detailed breakdown of the astral world or the spirit world. And Cuba Gooding Jr. clearly tells them, ironically, if you need to create something here, you do it with your mind. And that's true. That's where you're going, to the place in your mind. And when you was a kid, that's why you was in your play game, in your imagination game as a kid, because you just came from that world. It takes time for you to become a physical being again, by hurting your feet and stubbing your toe and seeing your mother telling you a series of shit not to do. You become human. And now you're just amplifying your human with some fucking movement shit. No, that's not what you are. A child shall lead them. And what they're talking about is the mind of a child. Don't compare the mind of a child as you're comparing it to a motherfucker who would eat Oreos for dinner and a bad human. But the mind of a child in terms of how they are free in their mind. You give a child a goddamn string in a room alone and guarantee you will have a fucking epic saga based upon their imagination and their visualization. You have to get back to that, because though it sounds childish, it is not from a child. It is the process of masters. I know it's hard for you to grasp with your old humanity ass. I know it's hard for you to grasp, but here's the good news. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to gods and goddesses, not motherfuckers with theories and fucking notebooks. I'm talking to motherfuckers who have an affinity for this because they feel it in their heart. They're not trying to outthink themselves with this shit. Sit down somewhere where you can't be disturbed. Enter a magical trance. We know how to enter that trance. Notice what you see behind your closed eyes. Fuzzy grayness, sparks of light images. Okay, I talked about this before, and to my surprise, a lot of motherfuckers was able to share this. When you close your eyes and you meditate and you make that pyramid in your mind, you start to see images in light in your mind. Now, the more you focus on that image, which is how you strengthen your visualization powers, those images start to change these light forms, and you'll start to see faces. Now, what I shared, and I was surprised people were able to understand, is that you'll see what you would describe as evil faces in those lights. And people say, yeah. A lot of people say, panic. I said, oh, y'all do see that. So then, which gave me the opportunity to break it down. You'll see those faces because when you're making progress spiritually, your spirit is saying, is always battling your humanity. So with your spirituality battling your humanity, your humanity is trying to protect you with fear or demons, or what we call demons, which is actually your genius, Damien. So your genius is coming to you, but it's trying to show you a scary picture so to protect your humanity. Your conscious mind is trying to protect you, block you, save you for what you think you don't understand. Now, most people said they open their eyes and stop because you didn't face your demons. When you face your demons, some people have noticed, when they stay with those so-called scary images, they start turning into light images. Angels and flowers and meadows and cities and hieroglyphs and all this beautiful shit. What happened? You faced your demons, and therefore you get this light at the end of the tunnel. Out of darkness comes light. So you're looking at what looks to be darkness, or dark light, as a matter of fact, and you get this light from this darkness, or what seems to be darkness. They showed this in the movie Silent Hill, the first one. They told her, now that you went through all this scary ass shit, all this scary shit, now that you went through it, let me give you the light that you were truly seeking. So she had to go through all the scary shit to get light. That's an occult concept here. You get what I'm saying? It's an occult concept. So to harness your visualization, when you close your eyes and see those light images, it's really the light that your pineal is seeing and trying to communicate with you. You need to stay with that. Try to stay with that image as long as you can, because the image changes. But if you stay with that image as long as you can, that's going to harness your power to keep a visualized, intended image in your mind. I'm talking magic, folks. Today is magic day. Today is magic day. All right? It's called traveling in the spirit vision or the body of light. Crowley and the initiates of the Golden Dawn dealt with this visualization technique. And over time, you may become skilled enough to lose your sense of body and can be completely involved in your visualization. So basically, they're saying you'll come to a point where you can completely, that's what I showed you with that meditation, how I can go directly into a zone because I am so beyond my human body that you, with skill level, and as they point out in the Golden Dawn, Crowley's organizations and the sub-organizations and all these organizations about this body of light, or your light body, or your spiritual body, which is able to dominate your physical body. You're still having a physical experience. Somebody kick you in the ass, you're going to feel a kick in the ass. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about shit from the movies. We're talking about you're able to access that part of you real easy because your human body has become irrelevant in terms of domination. It's relevant in terms of moving your ass around, going to get a hero, or whatever the fuck it is you do. But in terms of it dominating you, you have to do so much work to feel a spiritual experience, that'll be dead once you stop giving all of this relevance to a human body, which you admit is a fucking illusion itself. It only becomes an illusion when it's convenient for your ass. But it becomes spookism when it comes down to this white man. Oh, that's spookism. We have to get the white man. Now how irrelevant that is to you. You don't call yourself a god and a pyramid builder and tell about the relevancy of some. Do you know it's a compliment to call the white man the devil? He doesn't have a real existence. To give him one, including the opposite polarity of the negative polarity is just is what we've been calling the devil, and positive polarity is what we've been calling God. The realm of heaven is up here. The devil dwells in hell, ain't got nothing to do with no man. It's earth. It's the duality of man. Can the black man be the devil? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? We've seen some devilish shit. But can the white man be the devil? Yes, as a concept, because they are mimicking the black man, black woman, so they have the surface level of what we have, which is called duality. You could do some good shit and some bad shit to be defined by whoever's doing the definition of whatever moral system you're in, which shows you that's still an illusion as well, because morality tells you what's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? I always give the example. You walk up on me, I'm beating up an old lady. You say, "Oh my God, panic! That's bad. You're the devil." But then, if I said that old lady just killed all my kids, oh panic! That's justice in my yacht. You are fair and square dealing. You're on your fucking square, and all of that fucking shit. Right on, brother. Oh shit, you're all that shit now, and it's the same act. So what made the act different is the perspective and the reasoning behind it, which shows you at its heart it's not real, it's an illusion. So is morality, so is good or bad, so is what black people are doing. That's all a fucking idea. The only truth is what it is you convince yourself of. And that's what all of this magical practice is convincing yourself, being stern in your reality. And you'll find when you get closer and closer to greater levels of reality, you are unified, because the true reality is a quantum reality. And that quantum reality is an all-connected reality. So there is no opposition in your higher forms of yourself. There is no this or that, left or right in your higher self. You are having a polarity experience. And that polarity is conducive to arguing. When you become this God, you go beyond playing chess. You go beyond laying left or right. Gods don't argue. Gods are called the all. I am all of that shit. And yet I am nothing. When you figure that shit out, then you can, let me leave that alone. When you figure that shit out, then you figure something out. Let me say that. Accessing your body of light. Here's another technique. Okay, of course you enter your magical trance, right? That's key. Imagine a focal point of your consciousness shrinking. The whole consciousness is at the center of your being. So now, whatever you feel yourself is, or are for you, aficionados, whatever you feel you are, you have to shrink it down to a point. And y'all know that point. Some people could do the heart. Because even the white boy, Wayne Dyer, says, if you ask people to point to themselves, they don't say, well, my brain. Most people point to the heart. You know what I'm saying? So the heart is your consciousness center, but you know this is the seat of the soul. So for magical purposes, you want to see your a light body just ring and start to radiate here. So you make this hatted point, they call it, or they call it the black dot, or the dot, or the third eye, the illuminated eye, and blah blah blah. So then from that, once you've got your consciousness focused on that point, imagine that point or that shape turning into your body, the exact shape of your body, but a light body out of light. So it comes to this point. Then I start expressing another panic being built from this light. And he looks just like me, but except he's made of light. He's fluorescent. Or whatever color light hue you need for based upon your work. Red for power, yellow to assert yourself, and blah, blah, blah. So associate yourself with the new body. Look around the room from the new body's perspective. So now that I created this body outside of myself, I'm going to put my consciousness in it. So I'm going to see, as I'm looking from this perspective, now my body, let's say, is looking at me. It sees from this perspective, the same perspective of this camera, let's just say. And I got to see, with my eyes closed and focused, my body looking this way. Detailed visualizations of how I would look at this room from the direction of now the camera. So that's the second step you do with your light body. Move away from your physical body, examine objects in the room around you. So now I start, instead of just looking from this perspective of a camera that's across from me, I now can stand in this corner and look from this perspective at this wall on this side. So basically, I'm taking my light body and expanding. Eventually, you go into other rooms, other areas with your light body. While your physical body is there, you see this body of light moving around, observing. Basically, the technique of visualizing or traveling outside of yourself with your light body. All right? Go from room to room, as I pointed out. Go where you wish. When you're ready to return to your body, slowly reassociate, imagining the light body re-entering your body. So, basically, when you're done with your travels, or wherever you decide to go, you can go to the pyramids in Egypt and all of that shit. You see your body coming back, first starting from around you, turning around and sitting back into you. You feel the light start to animate back into you, animate, and come back up to one point, then dispel that point back around the body, and you're back. Now go downstairs and get some Doritos and lick the Dorito cheese off your fingers as you will. Alright. Vibrating God names. That's another technique in sex magic, or to empower yourself for sex magic. All of these things that you're doing are techniques to add energy to become that God body even before you fuck. This is all before you fuck. Alright? Imagine a divine name shining in white letters descending in your heart from a globe of white light that crowns you as you inhale. So again, you're doing the white light ball. You could also do the white light in front of you, and you want to see that particular deity's name that you're working with. And you want to see, feel, and pull that deity's name out. Let's say Shiva out. See the word Shiva in front of you. Breathe it in. You know what I'm saying? Breathe it in. Do it as much as you need to feel that you're Shiva. Then you need to see yourself as Lord Shiva. I can see the pennies and the red ink and gray shit on me right now with funky hair. And I need to be smoking some bong bongs, bang bang, that weed that they used to smoke. Because I can visualize it and see it easy. You can do that. You need to do it. We should be able to do that. You did it all your life as a kid with your fucking damn Star Wars figures and your goddamn Holly Hobby dolls, ladies. We did it all the time. You're only doing that. Your imaginary friends. As you exhale, slowly say the name slowly in a melody. So, Shiva. And you keep bringing it in because you inhaling Shiva, Shiva. You're invoking it out through the breath. All right? And when they say in the melody, you say it in a certain same rhythm over and over again. All right? And that's how you vibrate on God's names to become that God before your sex magic. You also assume God forms. Before you begin, familiarize yourself with the characteristics and common physical images of the God whom you choose to work with. So don't just say Shiva. You need to know what Shiva looks like. See Shiva's images, the images he has, his trident. He has a snake around his neck. You know what I mean? And you see his most popular images and symbols before you work with him. So you have to familiarize yourself with Shiva. Just don't go for Shiva. Know who Shiva is before you can deal with this God form. Know the form of your God very well so that you can imagine it as vividly as possible. Crowley suggests that you paint or draw the God so that you're connected with it as deeply as possible. So Crowley says, once you see Shiva, see and read and study Shiva, let's just say, try to draw Shiva. Because this puts a connection in the subconscious mind. And we know that to be true because even in Western teaching, they tell you that's why you actually take notes. Because if you take notes, even though you may not even need to take notes, writing it down puts it in the subconscious mind when you did the writing. So same concept here. So to assume God forms into the magical trance again, of course. See the God that you're trying to assume. See his form glowing immensely with a with the appropriate colored energy. With the appropriate colored energy. So you got to find what color is connected to whatever god. I can't remember offhand what color Shiva is, but there's a book called, actually, I think it's right here, Encyclopedia of Spirits by Judica Ilks. And in it, she gives their names, dates, colors, blah, 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 and all of that. And there's Dictionary of Ancient Deities by Patricia Russell and Charles, I think, Coultier. And in it, they'll give you colors and stuff like that for like Shiva or whatever. So if you need to visualize a color, they'll give you his iconography, his animal amorphosized images, and a whole bunch of information to visualize. So you see this god form glowing light with the appropriate color, move in the same position as the god, imitate the god standing or sitting. So basically you visualize Shiva, and you notice any of these gods, they always show a position. Men is always laying down with his dick out. So basically, to assume men, you would lay down, visualize your astral dick out, lay in men's position or Osiris position, do the breath, do whatever other technique we laid out to become men. But you would actually see the light first in men's color. Sexual energy is red, so you probably would see men as red. Standing in front of you, see him turn, or you turn him, and let him lay on you as men, as it's going in the body. They showed that concept in those mummy movies, those terrible ass mummy movies. But Imhotep, when he kept coming to life, the shit kept showing the spirit going in and out of his body. Same visualization technique. All right. See and feel yourself and the God integrating into one form. Allow yourself to grow in stature, fill up the universe with this God form. Experience the universe as this God. Become the God as much as possible. So all in the visualization. Okay, elements in the planets. Fire and water. Warmness and dryness, the quality of expansions. Coldness and wetness, the quality of contractions and shrinking. Fire and water. That's why those two, man and woman, come together. And earth and air. Warmness, moistness, quality of lightness. Coldness, dryness, qualities of heaviness. Fire energizes, water calms, air inspires, earth manifests. Now you can use any of these elements in your rituals. That's why we're going through this. And we need to understand, we can visualize these things. See yourself as a fire body if you're trying to energize. See yourself as a water body if you need a situation to calm down. See yourself as the air element or any air deities like Shu if you need to inspire something. So if y'all need to come up with come up with an idea for whatever household or deeper or your business, you need to deal with air elements. Earth to manifest something. If you need something physical to manifest, you deal with earth. You deal with Gab, let's just say, or however you can visualize earth while you're fucking. So basically, let's say y'all went to, I don't know, Zimbabwe, you and your wife, or y'all seen pictures of Zimbabwe. Y'all seen pictures of Zimbabwe, and this the land was so breathtaking to y'all. In your sex magic, if y'all need something to manifest, y'all can take your mind, your intention to that place and see whatever manifesting through that place, the earth element. So fire inspires success, creating passion, obtaining and improving sex, creating sexual love, enhancing creativity, developing a strength or strengthening the will. Water, creating friendships, attracting and understanding love, increasing tranquility, assisting with emotional and spiritual healing, calming and changing emotions, getting needed rest, improving understanding. Air, increasing education, improving memory, enhancing intellect, learning and teaching, improving communication, encouraging travel, inspiring writing, developing new theories, organizing your things. And earth, attracting money, obtaining jobs, promotions, improving investments, building your physical health, increasing business, building or enhancing your physical body, constructing buildings and plans, improving physical appearance, understanding and making peace with materialism. So those are the 4 elements, and basically those 4 elements in your magical work, in your magical visualizations, or however you physically make a manifest. You deal with crystals, that's earth, or sand, or dirt is earth. Incense or perfumes is air. Lighting candles or lighting anything is fire. Also lighting incense taps into fire as well. And anything liquid is water. Fire water is also alcohol, but anything you do with placing water, putting water on libations is water. So you can deal with it physically, and you can deal with it in your spirit, or somehow incorporate these elements for all the things for the direction of magical work listed above. Now, there's also 7 planetary spheres that you can incorporate: Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Moon, imagination, instinct, subconscious, and emotion. Mercury, reason, communication, logic, and knowledge. Venus, love, passion, and nurture. Sun, beauty, harmony, balance, and wholeness. Mars, justice, strength, force, and violence. Jupiter, generosity, abundance, leadership, and vision. And Saturn, structure, limitation, seriousness, and responsibility. So those are the 7 planetary spheres that you can get into. Here's some deeper shit on them. Alright, Moon, increasing imagination, improving instinct, connecting with the subconscious, altering and developing emotion, connecting with the astral world, developing clairvoyance, enhancing dreams, getting around sleep, working with the sea. Mercury, developing reason, improving communication, becoming more logical, gaining hidden knowledge, success in examination and tests, safety and speed in travel, success in business, improving writing, getting into and succeeding in school, learning science, medicine, mathematics, developing the mind, self-improvement, in general, understanding statistics or calculations of systems. Venus, gaining love, creating desire. I'm gonna get some water in this motherfucker. Whew. All right. So, Venus, gaining love, creating desire, improving and developing aesthetics, becoming more nurturing, enhancing beauty, increasing pleasure, appreciating and creating art, creating luxury, enhancing femininity. The Sun, creating harmony, improving balance, establishing, understanding wholeness, developing friendships, improving health and vitality, regaining youth and beauty, finding peace, experiencing illumination, obtaining windfalls of money, divine power. Mars, bringing justice to a situation, developing strength and passion, applying force, understanding and directing violent urges, enhancing energy, creating or stopping war or warlike thoughts, using aggression, developing courage, winning in competition, improving in athletics, enhancing masculinity. Jupiter, increasing generosity, creating the understanding, abundance, developing leadership skills, becoming a visionary thinker, receiving favors, acquiring influence and prestige, acquiring wealth, solving legal issues, getting good luck, and personal expansion. Saturn, understanding and creating structures, overwhelming or creating limitations, developing responsibility, becoming more serious, understanding reincarnation, understanding death, receiving inheritances, extending life. All right. So here you have the elements and the 4 planetary spheres all the directions, which gives you an easy tool to visualize and how could you say merge with in your magical work if you are too pressed to figure this out yourself, or you don't have the skill or the creativity left in you or developed yet to figure out in yourself what these things mean or how they influence you. So you have the textbook example. Most of these examples come out of a book called Crowley 777. You can choose the appropriate incense color, geometric shapes, gemstone, plants, gods, many other things to create an environment that instantly calls to mind the concept of these planets. So the Sun, Mars, and Jupiter, as we point out, are the elements you can find in this book here. Crowley's 777 and other Kabbalistic writings of Crowley, because in here he has tables of, let's just say, earth and or number, and throughout you can figure out how to use this book. Throughout the book you can follow, let's just say if your number is 7, you can go through 7 all the way down and find out a whole bunch of shit based upon gods, colors, elements, incense, taste, scents, blah 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 blah. Crowley 777 and other Kabbalistic writings. And you can find out how to harness powers of, let's say you heard the base. I gave you the basic understanding of, let's just say, Mercury, and if something in Mercury is something you need or pertains to your situation, you can go to Crowley 777 and find out more on Mercury and how to visualize and harness that energy. When you build up these colors powerfully in your imagination, you form a wonderful conducive atmosphere for your imagination. You can also use colored cloths or candles to work with the area to augment your imagination to empower your rights. So a lot of big things with these planetary and spheres and these elements are colors, because it's easy to visualize the color. So once you attach the understanding to the color, you can trigger what you need in, let's just say, Mercury with that color. So here are the colors: fire, red or red-orange; water, blue or blue-green; air, yellow or blue; earth, green, black or brown; Saturn, black or indigo; Jupiter, blue or violet; Mars, red; the Sun, yellow or gold; Venus, green; Mercury, orange or mixed colors; a moon, violet, blue or silver. All right, so those are the colors connected to the planetary bodies and the elements, and you just heard all the things that those things encompass, and that will give you a big clue on what you can need to harness in your sexual magic. So of course, purifying your energy, you go into magical trance. You can take a bowl of water and sprinkle yourself, or yet again, this is what you do to purify yourself. I already pointed out how you purify yourself in the area. But you can also take a bowl of that salt water or take a spiritual bath. I also offer a shitload. I have over about 13 to maybe even more, maybe even close to 20 spiritual baths that you could take for various purposes on my website. occultlectures.com, a must. So, and you also visualize the energy going away. You also visualize the energy after you purify and consecrate your area. So, technically, there could be a part 2. I'll see if you people enjoy this enough for a part 2. Then we'll go into a part 2 of how to become a sexual sorcerer. Now, I gave you 3 hours and 13 fucking minutes of detailed ways to harness sexual energy from the perspective of the magician, not from the perspective of the tantric energy saver, the perspective of the visualization magician that is trying to make shit manifest. Understand that. This sexual alchemy, you know what I'm saying? This sexual tantric practice, more than this Taoist tantric or whatever. These old priestly ways of cultivating it. Now, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that. If that's what you need to do, then by all means, you need to do it. I don't hear a lot of niggas talking about that. I hear a lot of niggas talking about fucking. And let me tell you, and for all you deep niggas, I have reached the level of ejaculation without touching the nuts. I did all of that shit, my niggas. I did all that female orgasm shit, and believe me, that shit ain't no fucking prize. I had a fucking female orgasm and turned into a fucking bitch. You know what I'm saying? Was on the bed, my legs was shaking. Oh, don't touch me. No, hold me. No, don't touch me. Doing all that bullshit. You could feel the orgasm come from the fucking universe. See, from guys, your orgasm is centered in the genitals. And then when you get deeper, you can have an orgasm that tingles around your body. But with a feminine orgasm, like that shit, you could feel the orgasm coming. Oh, shit, what's this shit? And then the shit just encompasses you, and you are fucking gone. You're somewhere else. You just be a shaking bitch after that. I was like, look, I don't want to do that shit no more. Fuck all of that Taoist goddamn shit. I started busting my nut the regular way, but started knowing I wasn't losing any energy. And started realizing, all that shit they talking about holding and cultivating and bringing it up, you got to do that with your mental, your physical. It can be done. I've done that. So I've tapped into all of that ejaculation shit. You know what I'm saying? I tapped into where all that shit went back up in the pineal and all that shit. I dealt with spirits and did all of that shit. I got information where you can cultivate sperm in your mind and shoot it out and have whatever kid you want, which you're doing anyway, but doing it with more consciousness, having more powerful motherfuckers by bringing the sperm up. You got to bring the PC. Let me tell you, even in Cyclomancy, the book that I sell, been selling, out of print book, How to Cultivate Psychic Energy, gives you plenty of practice. Everyone must have that. See me to get that book, occultlectures.com, a must have. And in that book, he tells you techniques about how you bring the power from your solar fabric light, but you bring it to the back of your head, in what they call your brain horns, right above the medulla oblongata. And then from that point, once you cultivate enough energy here, how to push it throughout your eyes. And this is where you get the evil eye. And you can push your intention out through your eyes. Oh, yes, I learned to do that. My practice technique when I was dealing with it is to do it on the New York City train. And one of the first things I would do is make the person across from me fall asleep. Make this nigga fall asleep. Well, you know it, nigga dribble. Then I would say, I'm going to make her nipples get hard. Just from the intention. And I could shoot it out, and my eyes would actually hurt when I would do it, because I could feel the power going out. And boom, nipples get hard. I can make legs open, tell you what color panties you had on. Oh yeah, I was doing this shit. This is real deal shit now. Like I said, I don't tell you shit that's a fucking theory from a book. This is real deal shit. I fucked around and took what was in the book seriously, and I took niggas seriously when they said we was the gods. And I said, well, what are God powers? Not just I'm a god in theory, what are God powers? So this is a God power, how to harness this energy from your sack and bring it up. That same energy that you brought up when Bobby's mother died, she came through and told me, but she was a school teacher in her human life. She came through and said, oh, you can harness that energy and you can circulate it back down to create whatever you want. You can create a Malcolm X or a fucking artist, a butcher, baker, or a fucking candlestick maker. That's what we was doing. So you had the kids you want. You called the kids you want. And that kid made the choice of coming through you, through your work. So if I knew I had to come out here and be a fucking artist, I knew what parents to choose, because that's the child that they wanted, because the father would cultivate the sperm in collusion with the mother, but she had to bring it through her gateway. They would let me, we want an artist. And he would start the light process of cultivation and plant that seed. And she would help to form in her womb that artist, doing things, because now even white people say the baby can be developed in the womb based upon what the mother was doing. Her development stage, she would cultivate that seed, that light, that intention in the womb. All right? And then y'all would have whatever child y'all wanted, and the child would pick your womb to come through, which happens in the mind. Brother Ling told me, we got this mentality that you shoot 1 billion sperm or 1 million sperm, and the sperm are fighting each other and killing each other off until the one sperm impregnates. Helene said that's not what's happening. What happens is the sperm enters the brain, and it actually, one of the sperm cells actually gets incarnates as that light. The solar phallic energy enlightens the one sperm with the intention. And as the sperm is racing back down through the woman, they're not fighting each other. They're all dying off to protect the one sperm cell that's the intended birth. So that shows you there's a divine intention even in the sperm. So that divine intention is another way of saying your birth was a choice, a divine choice to come through your parents. It's not like, well, I can't do nothing about my parents. My parents just had me. He smokes crack and she's a former prostitute. You chose that, and they chose that to have this particular experience. We're no longer having bubblegum experiences down here. We're having real deal experience based upon the pressure that makes the diamond. So we're becoming the diamond body, which is the true God force, the true God man. So we need this particular pressure to do what it's doing. So we're making this choice. So I'm telling you from the perspective of the magician. You need to understand this. You might say, well, the towers say this. I'm not telling you that. Well, the Kundalini people vote say you need to breathe and do this and you can't do that. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you from motherfucking advanced technology. And I'm even telling you, as Randolph did, in his advanced technology, he hit it with the bullshit that slow niggas needed to hear for them to feel like they're doing something. Well, I went to breathe and I touched the walls and I do my cartwheels for a half an hour before I get in some pussy. You know what I'm saying? You need to hear that because you need to feel like you've done something physical or even logical that's going to make it work. And it will work for you because that's what you need to make it work. The advanced nigga doesn't need all that logic. He needs to be able to see it or know that all he needs to do is see it. So I get down to the bare elements of this. That all you need to do is see it to achieve it. Even Jesse Jackson tells you that see it and believe it and you can achieve it. That's some real shit right there. Because in the occult sense of the word, if you can visualize it in your mind, you start to impact your true reality. Everything must happen in the spirit world, and the spirit world is communicated with your mind, with your third eye, your subconscious, and all the rest of that good shit. So we're going to end on this. If I'm getting feedback for a second one, I'll do a part 2 because there is a part 2. Because all we did was talk about basically the basic technique and the mindset to get into some sexual tantric shit. And, really that's all you really need to talk about. Because now, see, what I do is put the ball in your court now. I am not your preacher. See, the preacher tells you everything he thinks you should do, and you do it to follow it to a T. I don't need to tell you to do that. I'm just trying to empower you with the tools for you to create your own reality, because that's the true form of that God form. So we need to understand that and how important that is, and what a ultimate offering of respect to you as a god or a goddess is for me to say, I believe you have the ability to do it yourself, and you don't need to do what I do. So I don't need to hear panic. What happened when you did this and what happened? No. What happened when you did it? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing in me that is not in you. And with that belief system, and when I say belief system, I believe in things that I know. I don't blindly believe in things. I believe in things that I know. And what I know is you have the ability to do anything I could do and even greater. So there's no reason for you to worry about what I'm doing. Just the best thing you can get out of me is how to do it. I have a obsession with learning how to do things. And you benefit from that obsession because I'm willing to share that obsession with you. And and you need to understand this clearly. If it doesn't work for you, there's no debate. Don't fucking do it. That's your answer. If it doesn't work for you, do what you do. I'm talking about motherfuckers who's looking to tap into something. If you're looking to tap into something, here's an option. But this is, remember, only a fucking option. Same way, well, Panic, you all about selling your panic packs. No, you have the option to buy it, but you get, even now, 3.5 damn hours of free information that is actually the true gem. Anybody who asks, you can go to my site and see all the links to prior shows I did for free, which are life changing shows, which gives you the option to buy my product. We're not going to forget that we're so spiritual that we're not paying fucking rent. Everybody has a rent and an electric bill. So do I. The ability to give you free information. This information that you just got today alone, if you apply it just on a minimal sense, it will change your entire reality on planet Earth for free. All you have to do is click on YouTube. So all I ask for that is support, and still you get things for that support. I don't ask you for anything for free. You still get things that still even benefit your work further. There's nothing more genius than what's going on between us now. Nothing more genius. And like I said, ultimately, I seek to have everyone not need any, I seek to become irrelevant. Because when I become irrelevant, that means y'all niggas already got this and y'all off and running. And when I'm irrelevant, I get to go back to motherfucking heaven where I'm from, nigga. And I hate to say heaven like it's the sweet by and by. I'll just go to the realms where I exist in all existence, where we exist in all existence, and nothing is needed. There's no such thing as magic because there's nothing inside of you that you need to do. Remember that at the core, magic at its core is something that we have to do because we are in lack. Where I'm from, there is no magic because you are in full abundance. So people, and I say this because people have this idea that magic is better than, I don't know, let's just say Moorism or Nubians, that it's another religion or another method and it's in opposition to other black people. No, magic is just a way to make things manifest. It is, and now it's even called magic. Before, you didn't have to call it magic because it was our normal way of thinking. We thought in ways that extended past the physical. As we become physical beings, we have to come up with a name for it to say we're doing something. No, everything I'm trying to tell you, y'all need to understand it, is an extension of your own natural thinking, your own natural ability, your own natural expression of how you are naturally. Everything I told you there, I told you used to do as a child because you naturally did that. You naturally visualized. You naturally seen colors and invisible entities called invisible friends to protect you, that slept under your bed, that stood in the closet. You looked outside and seen the silhouette of the tree and used to see images. You don't remember that? I remember in the project looking at all the chip paint on the wall on my ceiling and used to see images and have names for this shit. We do this. This is a natural way you think. I'm telling you your motherfucking nature. Believe you me, I am. So this goddamn shit here, we need to get with it. And you are out of your nature, and it's not what they taught you in public school, it's how they taught you to learn in public school that's really got you fucked up. Because let's face it, half you niggas don't remember algebra. So it's not like they trained you with algebra in school. You don't remember you remember there was 3 boats, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. That's about it. Who drove the boats, which they did teach you in school. Chris, a fucking John Wilkes Booth or some kind of shit. You don't remember all that dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? And so they didn't really, it's not really that they trained you in school, they just kept you out of your true education, your true methodology. And I'm trying to tell you your true methodology, as I pointed out to you, the way we story told was the same concept. You know that to be an African reality. Well, then you got to say, well, why did they choose that instead of doing the same thing they taught you? Huh? Well, they taught you that because they understood how your mind works. And I'm telling you, and been telling you, how your motherfucking mind works. You ain't gonna put up no fucking light show in the back of me and tell me that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? You could be anything in a motherfucking light show, nigga. In a motherfucking PowerPoint show. No, this is about actualizing and experiencing some shit. So I'm talking to the doers out here. I'm not this I say, and I say clearly, isn't for everybody. It is not for everybody. And if you don't feel nothing in what I said, and all I did, not because it's coming from me, because all I did was reflect your own mind. If you don't feel nothing in that, I respect that. I totally get it. You don't have to tell me. You don't even have to tell your friends. All you have to do is tell yourself. That shit ain't popping for me. Because it's not for you. It's not for you. This is for the people trying to go to the next level and put it in effect. So I'm gonna end this now, and remember, you guys can email me at panicpack@hotmail.com. That's still method still popping, but the website is really going on now, and there's a lot of information I'm putting up and constantly will update on the website. Candle interpretations, operations, things to spiritualize your health, a whole shitload. You name it, the Kabbalion, goddess and god names, 1,000 names of the goddess, all on my site in the more area. There's an area where, we click on for more. And about Panic, you'll find things about Bobby, Brother Aleem. Me and Brother Aleem are going to be doing our blog talk radio shows soon. I have an idea about called Information versus Transformation. I think me and Brother Aleem are going to do that. I haven't ran that by him yet, but we're going to do a show called Information versus Transformation. And that's kind of what I've been talking about now. A lot of us have been dealing with information, but less of us are feeling transformation. And I'm going, like I said, me and Aleem, or Aleem and myself, are going to tackle that on our Blog Talk Radio, First World Order Radio, 8 p.m., Wednesday nights, sometimes Thursday nights. That's on Blog Talk Radio, First World Order Radio, hosted by Dr. Aleem El-Bey and Brother El-Bey as well. And myself, I come on, and if I'm not around, we have plenty of different guests. We're going to do more guests now. So I haven't talked to Brother Jerry Miller, who does the organ, but we think we're going to, as long as he says yes, we're going to have him on the show to talk in detail about the organ that I've been telling people to get. Next time I'll hold up some of Jerry's organ, but it's not needed. You can contact Jerry directly on Facebook or email me for Jerry's info. I'm going to put something on Jerry's info on my website so y'all can contact him directly, and which would actually be a good idea. And also we're going to have the nutritional healer on our show sometime in July. That's my girl Stacy. The funniest shit in the world. I knew Stacy when she was actually little. Well, not too little, but she's younger than me. And she actually lived on the same floor in New York, in the same building on the same floor as my sister. So I seen her on Facebook on some conscious shit. Like, where did I know that little damn girl from? And just let me look at her pictures and seeing they were in my sister's neighborhood. So I'm like, oh, I remember that little girl. Blah, blah, blah. Sure enough, contacted. Yeah, I remember your sister. Remember your nephew and all this kind of shit. So it was a funny coincidence. And I think Stacy's a little bit psychic because when I went to visit my sister one year, I was just in the hallway walking, and Stacy came out her house and was like, oh, I knew you was out here. I came out here. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I seen her again then. And, she's a sweet girl, powerful. She's a New York nigga, so y'all gonna get a taste of that New York shit. She's got, also on YouTube, she has things, nutritional healing, with, is her name. So you might be able to search for her there. And real good, real gangster with her nutrition and know her shit. I just was testing her one day and asked her a couple of questions. She knew her shit for sure. She went through all the Dr. Africa classes, which is the health standard, but she got her own shit too. So y'all need to look out for her. I'm sure she'll be on the show a few times. And like I said, she's a little bit psychic because after I confirmed with Aleem, I went to text her, and that same week, before I even got to tell her, she asked Aleem about the show. And Aleem, because I already talked to Aleem is confirming with her, thinking that I told her to come and text him, but this is actually before I told her. So I'm telling her, she's like, yeah, I already did it. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking Aleem reached out to her. Now, after I talked to Aleem, she's like, no, I thought you sent her to me. So she was actually, so I know this is going to be a perfect match, but she actually picked up on the vibe. When me and Aleem was just discussing it. You know what I'm saying? So I think she got a little bit of psychic with her. You know what I'm saying? And y'all need to understand, next time I hold them up, I should have brought them in here. My girl, Tiffany out of Detroit, who's dealing with the Neath energy, which is the crocheting. And when she took my class, I deal with the fairies in my class, and she was, this is one of those things where it spoke directly to her. She's one of the people who had a lot of plants, talk to her plants and all of these things. And talks to her plants and all of these things. And so the fairy stuff came true to her. So she, just the sweet person she is, she's always said, she sent me, I needed a blanket. She made a blanket for me off the hook, still one of my favorite blankets. I don't go in for all them scarves and shit and them kufis. So she made my goddess Khadijah those dreadlock hats, things and shit off the hook. So she said, Panic, I'm gonna make you these fairy slippers that she been fucking with. I'm like, nigga, you ain't not gonna get me to wear these crochet slippers. She's such a sweetheart, I'm gonna put them on for her. I ain't gonna lie, I put these shits on and you tap directly into the fairy world. And I remember how connected she was to fairies. She's probably one of the most sweetest people you would ever. This is a true fairy on this motherfucker. She's got that true fairy energy. And you tap into the fairy shit. So everybody in my class who knows what this fairy world is, because I know a lot of niggas don't understand that. Unless you take my class, you're not really going to understand it unless I decide to break it down. Some people have an affinity for it. They think it's some white shit, but it's not. It's the Twa people, the seed people, and it's the quantum. Take the class. But all of that to say, she's tapped into the fairy. You go right into the zone. If you took the class and understand fairies, you need to see her. Her name, you can email me. I'm going to put her contact on my website too. Tiffany Messenger at Yahoo. But she spells her name Tiffi. I think it's NNI. It's not with a Y. Or it might be one N and an I. Tiffany with an I. Messenger, the word messenger at Yahoo. And if you can't figure it out, email me, or I'm going to put it up on my site where you can contact her and you can contact Jerry. These are the two things I'm recommending lately for that two other people make that really tap you in spiritually. That fairy shit is for inspiration. I'll say that. You put them on, and if you're writing a book, you need to start a business, or you need to figure out how to maintain your life, even deal with your kids, put them fucking fairy slippers on. I rocks with them shits. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what Oregon is, you need to look up what Oregon is and understand that Jerry makes them on a master craftsman level. And you need to see him, and he will show you all of his shit that you will look at and be like, oh wow, pyramids, Mayan pyramids, pendants, charms, you name it, he fucking does it. You know what I'm saying? And I think he does special orders for, and the prices are not that bad, I will say that, for what you're getting. When he does his shows, white people who understand what Oregon is, they buy him out, while niggas are still thinking it's charms. They understand what it is and what it's doing right now. And you need to understand that too. There's no excuse for us not to be able to tap into our shit when money you would have spent just going to the fucking movies to watch Tom Cruise any fucking way. You're using that same money to buy shit for your spiritual alchemy, nigga. Understand it. So, I'm going to put up their information on occultlectures.com. We're going to end this off now, and I'm going to keep coming at you folks with more and more information. If there's going to be a part 2, we will know it. We're dealing with the mysteries of sexual sorcery. And the one last thing I have to say, please, we must continue our good charity support of Bobby Hemmett. I know we get this idea, we give, then it goes away. But remember, Bobby has dedicated his life to this. He has no other income but the income of you guys' generosity. And I know you niggas watch this. In fact, if y'all even interested in this, 70% of the people I meet said they found me through Bobby Hemmett. So if anything you like about what I'm doing here and is helping you here, you got to remember Bobby Hemmett is responsible for that. He's the first one to bring us occult science. Most of my direct training came from Bobby Hemmett. A lot of it came from Bobby Hemmett. Most of it. And of course, what made me stand out from the average Joe with Bobby Hemmett, he knew I was active in participating in my own alchemy. And that puts it over the edge. That always brings that respect. People versus following a person versus someone who's dealing with a person's wisdom and light and experience, and then only seeking to experience something themselves to create their own perspective. That's considered a job well done. And like I said, we owe Bobby a lot more. This guy has guided your life through this planet. I know you just look at it as a YouTube thing, but you got to understand his perspective. This is everything he's done for black people. So if you gave $20, you know it will not hurt you to give 20 more. It matters. It really matters. I've seen the difference. Half the shit that Bobby can get the state to pay for is not the extra shit that he really needs. You get what I'm saying? We should have him in his best comfortable position as we can. And with all of the people who dealt with his work, $20, $30 is not a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? He also accepts your well wishes if you don't have that financial gift. So it's not all about money. If you invoke or do whatever you can to keep his thoughts of his recovery in mind, all right. Now he's going to recover. That's guaranteed. Like I said, half you other niggas, I would like to see you come back from what the shit I seen in that hospital bed that day. I don't think that's going to happen. Or wouldn't happen if he wasn't dealing with a certain level of etheric power, spiritual power. And he is. But he also needs that he's still on earth, and he also needs help dealing with financial burdens that accrue in this particular state. So we definitely need the love and support that Bobby. His link to his donation site is on my page. It's legit, and every single penny of that money is given to him. It is actually handled by Mama Congo, who is married to Jerry Miller, the dude who does the Oregon. So this is honorable people in the community. This is some FUBU shit for us, by us. I met a brother at the Malcolm X Fest who says he listens to my YouTube, and he said he was hanging with, what was his name? He was hanging with brother Wanique Shabazz. And I'm bad with names. And the brother told me his name. He said he listens to me on YouTube. And basically he said the Bobby Hemmett has been the most successful fundraising thing he's ever seen in the conscious community. So I would like to keep that going. And he's absolutely correct. Through all our master teachers to be able to, if y'all complaining how we don't take care of our master teachers, well, God damn it, I don't share in that shit. You know what I'm saying? We have taken care of our masters. You can't accuse me of none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? You go right to YouTube, and those of you who are late, you can go right to YouTube and see the update with me and Bobby, right to this channel. The update with me and Bobby on YouTube, with Bobby talking, and you can hear his own words of him getting his money, his donation, and what he needs. And him being thankful with his queen, being very thankful and very humbled by the support that he has received. We want to keep that going. Let's not let it go away like it's a phase. He still needs the help. He's getting the help, but he still needs the help. Again, if you can't find that link, occultlectures.com, under my About Panic area, you will see link to Bobby Hemmett's donation. Go there, do what you can. Every little bit helps. So we're gonna end this on the science of sexual sorcery. If I get outcries to do a part 2, I will. But y'all niggas need to be getting your fuck on. Brother Panic out. Occult Lectures. My niggas.